going live on YouTube. So please call in all your YouTube friends, and apologies for being slightly late. And please remember to subscribe to both our YouTube and Facebook pages at the OneMic Show. And then follow us on Instagram at OneMic Show. We're also taking live calls tonight. The number to call, 202-683-4570. Press star 5 to speak. Again, the number is 202-683-4570. Press star 5 to speak. Now, despite Kenya's new generation demanding accountability through hashtags, protests, and petitions, few have taken the extra step of building real tools for change. Njeri created a digital tool that let Kenyans email their MPs to reject the infamous finance bill. And for that, she was arrested. And months later, Njeri is now in New York being honored on the Time 100 list as one of the world's most influential rising stars. She joins us tonight to talk about the viral arrest, her time in DCI custody, and how she's helping Kenyans decode odious debt. So start dropping your comments below and tell us where you tuned in from, what city, what state, what country, what town. Na bila kusahau, napokea mziki toka DJ wetu Machachari, mleta habari DJ Omoshfire, na tunadunda kule viwanjani na Mika Ojezeke nambari 7 mgongoni, akitutetea habari za michezo. Moja kwa moja toka Kilimanjaro Studios, ni mimi mtangazaji na mwanahabari wako mpendwa Ali Badawi. Kwetu wananiita mteule na wengine mniite mjukuu wa Masai, because I'm Kenyan by blood, American by design, Masai by choice. Sichagui, sikagui, na sibagui. Karibuni.
Now, let's talk politics.
Now, this hour we'll be talking to Njeri, the software engineer whose arrest for building a digital tool to oppose Kenya's finance bill made international headlines. Njeri is now a Time 100 rising star, and she joins us to talk about that viral moment, her time in DCI custody, and how she's helping Kenyans decode odious debt and digital surveillance. She'll also talk about how the diaspora can help as we approach the 2027 elections. Please drop a comment below and tell us what city, state, or country you're tuned in from. And thank you so much to all those who are tuned in. The number to call is 202-683-4570. Press star 5 to speak. Now, we're going to get started right away tonight. Now, we know that Kenya's youth have always been called the future, yet every time they rise to demand accountability, they are met with tear gas, violence, or handcuffs. A young woman by the name Njeri took a different approach. She neither shouted in the streets nor stormed parliament, but instead built a digital tool. Njeri created an online platform that let Kenyans email their MPs to reject the infamous finance bill, a bill whose previous version sparked nationwide protests and claimed over 60 lives. The simple act shook the establishment and landed her in DCI custody, where she was handcuffed for performing a normal act of civic responsibility. Just months later, she's now on a global stage in New York, being honored on the Time 100 as one of the world's most influential rising stars. Njeri's arrest became a symbol of how far the state can go to silence digital resistance. Her recognition on a Time 100 is proof that the world is watching Kenya's youth revolution unfold. Njeri is now helping Kenyans decode odious debt, state surveillance, and the dangerous intersection of data, power, and control, issues that strike at the heart of our democracy and digital freedom. So the big question tonight is, with Kenya heading into one of the most consequential elections in history come 2027, what role will Njeri play in mobilizing a tech-savvy Gen Z and diaspora community? Will she bridge the gap between protest tools and policy wins? Now, to help us break this down and decode the future of digital activism, civic tech, and resistance, please drop your favorite emoji in the comment section and help me welcome the fearless, the brilliant, the Time 100 rising star, Miss Njeri, live from New York. Njeri, karibu sana. How are you doing today? Can you hear us, Rose?
I can hear you. Asante for having me. And sorry for being late. I got a bit lost.
Okay.
The city is new to me.
No worries at all. We totally understand that.
Big Apple.
Yes, and we're thrilled to have you here, Rose. Maybe walk us through the day you left Kenya, from the airport, the goodbyes, to your first glimpse of New York City. What were your first impressions and the moments that stuck with you? Njeri.
My journey was interesting, but the biggest thing for me was the time difference, or adjusting to the different time zones, because I had a layover in Dubai, and when we were in Dubai, when we left Dubai, it was 8 a.m. and my arrival time to New York was 2 p.m. Now, the journey is 12 hours, but somehow in my mind it was like, oh, just a few 8
6
a.m. to
hours.
2 p.m.
6 hours.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there was that's like time confusion, like, yo, what's going on? And then but
Okay.
yeah, I had a very nice journey and I loved like the views. I had a window seat. But yeah, it was good.
What were your first impressions of New York City when you touched down? Is it what you expected, what you had seen on TV? What were your first impressions on that first day when you landed?
My first impressions are how orderly everything is. From when you land, I mean, there was a lot of traffic at JFK International Airport. So, but apart from the traffic, I was just thinking, if this was Kenya, it would actually not be traffic that's moving, it would be a gridlock. Because you can imagine matatus, bodabodas, and then hoka ameweka vitu zake katikati ya barabara. But here, there's order, and I really like that.
Okay.
It makes me sad when I think about Nairobi and like, will we ever get to a point like this?
Okay. All right. Good. Now, was this your first time, coming to the United States?
Yes, it was.
Okay. All right. Good. And from what I can see, from your schedule, it seems that this visit isn't just about sightseeing and Times Square selfies. From what we are learning, you've had a few important moments already. What's been keeping you busy since you arrived? I think you arrived on Wednesday. I don't remember whether it was Wednesday or Tuesday. You let us know. And after the long flight and your first taste of New York energy. So what have you been doing since you arrived, Njeri?
My first day, luckily I arrived in the evening, so I slept for the night, and I think that helped catch up with the jet lag. Excuse me. So my first day was basically Thursday, because I arrived here on Wednesday evening. So Thursday, I tried going sightseeing, but the weather was horrible. It was raining, it was windy, and it's cold. So I didn't really do much. I only got so far and then decided, nah, let me just go home. And then in the evening, I went to the TIME event in Current, in New York.
Okay.
And basically spent the night there. Left pretty late, around 11:30, 12, and got home and just slept. And then today, I've met a few people and I've done a little touristy things because at least the weather was okay. Yeah, and that's pretty much now I'm here.
Okay. All right, Rose. We'll come back to you about that in a moment. But first, let me loop in the panel because, I don't troll solo here on the OneMic Show. DJ Moshfire, I see you already here. I know you might, maybe you might even have had a playlist ready for this conversation on mind. Maybe tell me, what are you expecting from Rose tonight? Because every time we've got someone who's shaken the system, you've always had an opinion and something to say. DJ Moshfire, karibu sana.
Asante Ali. Welcome to the show. Our honorable guest. It's not every day that we actually talk to somebody ambayo asha pelekwa Nyati House. Nyati House ikuzi ya kunaga. Yeah. But so in terms of expectations, say again. Okay. Yeah. For some of us nowadays, it was Nyati House, and then if you did good, you are taken to Nyayo. But okay, we'll leave it at that one. However, So the expectations is really for just a breakdown of the whole. For us, Ali, we've heard of the Gen Z movement. We've not been in it. We were not in the ground. And then the things that occurred or events that happened around it, surrounding it, and holding it, continuing to hold it up. So
yes,
it's always a learning moment for us because we are so far removed by not being in Kenya physically. So everything we get is virtual. So having somebody who has been on the ground, was in the I guess I'd call it depth or deep in it. My expectation is just a breakdown of what you see, what you saw, what has transpired, and maybe I would even venture to say lessons learned, and then how can us as the diaspora chip in to keep this movement going.
Okay, asante sana, DJ Moshfire. And then I also want to come to OneMic in the studio.
Yes.
I know you've been binging on some of Rose Njeri's interviews on YouTube all week. From all that you've seen and heard on OneMic about her, what are you hoping to dig deeper into tonight? Maybe something that the videos you've seen don't quite reveal about Rose Njeri on OneMic.
I have, and hopefully maybe we might get into it. It's the narration for me of how she was arrested. Also how she was answering text messages, or text messages were coming about a loan, mkopo, something like that. And then subsequent, how she was violently arrested when she was graduating.
Yes.
But I think most people have had that. But I think, I think a bit more in depth into her programming journey. And, the start of the creating that email, that tool. Just enter your email, your name, your email address to send. And the odious debt. Because I think many people really do not yet comprehend odious debt and what she's going to do or she's doing to facilitate, to make it easy and palatable, ni kama mtoi, kama
make it digestible
kabisa.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Unajua vile wakiusema gugutanukira irio alafu guhe.
So
that one. Ni mwanyita. Kanyo. How.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah.
Okay. Yeah. And I'm also interested on that topic of odious debt. Like personally, I first learned about odious debt from Jimmy Wanjigi. He's the one who was talking about it so many times. Okiya Omtata, of course, has put a case through the courts. And there's examples, like of countries that, eliminated debt by just proving that this debt did not come to us. So whoever it went to, they need to pay it. So I think that's a concept that a lot of Kenyans don't understand. And I think it's important for people to know, and even more important to know how exactly it's impacting how much taxes that the government is paying.
Yes.
And where the money is going to pay for debt that it could have gone to pay for development. But I want to come back again to you, Rose. And first, before we dig into all that, I want to go back to that moment, the one that changed everything for you. We know that a simple act of digital advocacy led to your arrest. Walk us through that day when you got arrested. What exactly happened, and how did you first realize things were about to take an ugly turn? Rose Njeri, twende kazi.
As the speaker before me has just said, I feel like I've spoken so much about the arrest, but for purposes of people who don't know, what happened was I ran a business in Kenya that does branding, software, and other creative things. I took a short course for the business, and on that day of the arrest, I was graduating from that short course with many other people. And the DCI walked in when we had finished everything. They came right where I was. They identified me by name, and then basically say, their thing was kuja tu hapa nje tuongee kidogo, and then I could sense that this wasn't kuongea, like something was wrong. These were not people who were in the graduation, and I didn't understand. In fact, when they were like, Njeri, I'm like, are you talking to me? You know, so I could sense that something was wrong. And so I tried to keep it within the space. Luckily, there was a lot of people. So I tried to keep it within the space where people were. When they were insisting I walk out, I'm like, no, let's talk when you're here. And then, you know, a crowd started forming, and then to me it's all a blur. Like from the moment they started saying we want to talk, then people crowded, asked them, who are you? Are you sure it's her? And then someone showed an ID that they're DCI, and then like to me it's a blur. I remember calling my mom saying these people have come for me. And the kids need to be picked from school. I don't know where they're taking me. And then she started the journey. She lives in Njeri. She started the journey from Njeri to Nairobi so she could basically take care of the kids. And yeah, the DCI then took me from there to my house without me giving them directions.
Wow.
And it was under the pretense of taking me to go take my kids from school. But when we got there, they didn't go to the school. They went directly to my house. And I realized, this isn't normal. So I started hesitating, like, I do not want to go with you to my house. And they basically, it was a crowd of 15 cops.
Wow.
One lady, yes, one lady was by my side the whole time. But the rest were men. They're like shouting over me. You know, when I say, who are you? Where are you taking me? What do you want? It's just all these voices, this male, you know, deep voices being like, where tutakuchapa nini nini. So it was very intimidating. And basically they forced me to go to my house, which they knew back at the house number. And when I started being like, I'm not finding my keys, I don't want to open, they're like, we will break the door, open the door. So I like immediately I was like, okay, I wouldn't want my kids to come home to the door being broken and I'm not there. So, you know, I just opened. And then, yeah, they ransacked my house. I used to live in a single room. And they ransacked everything, claiming that they were looking for, they were taking anything electronic. That's flash disks, hard drives, my computers, my phones. So it was very indignifying. And then I was in a dress, and then the lady told me, I think you should wear something warm. So the men walked out, but the lady stayed there. And she basically watched me change my clothes. As in, there was even no dignity in, like, let me just dress in privacy. And then after that, they basically took me to the vehicle, so now they could take me to DCI. However, remember, I don't know, I told my mom about it, so she was on the way to Nairobi, but my kid is it was around 3. My kid is usually picked at 3, the baby, he's in kindergarten. So I started panicking and like excuse me, I started panicking and asking like what's going to happen to my kids, and like screaming and everything, but they were just manhandling me. They put me in the car, so it's just like they were holding me. So like 3 police officers, one is holding my hand, one mkono iko kwa mdomo yangu, mwingine ameshika miguu, and like so there was that moment of realizing that I am at their mercy, and they haven't really said where they're taking me, who I am. Why am I being arrested? They haven't read me my rights. They haven't reported to the nearest police station. So, and the journey from my house to DCI's office was really long. Like, they took the longest route possible. So there was that moment of hesitation, like, are they really taking me to the DCI? Where are they taking me? So it was a very scary experience being under there.
Okay, and all this time, Rose,
yeah.
by the time they got you there, are they telling you, you know, what you're charging you with? And the reason why we're asking you this is out here in the diaspora, people sometimes don't follow the news day to day. So sometimes there's a lot of members of our audience are coming into contact with this for the first time. So what are they telling you that these are your charges? You know, like umefanya hivi. What are they telling you at that point?
They told me what I've done when they got me to the DCI office in the evening. And at this point, I had lost track of time. But I know I was seeing people leaving the office. So I knew it was around 5 p.m. So they got me to their office. And when we are inside their office, they asked me for a statement. They told me, we want you to write a statement about what you did. And I told them, first of all, shouldn't there be a third party present if I'm writing a statement? Then they said, like, the policeman I was telling that to started pointing at his colleagues. Ndo huyu third party, ndo huyu mwingine. Haya.
Wow.
Tell us what you did. Tell us why you did what you did. So at that point, you know, it's basically by force. And so I tell them, I don't know what you want me to say because you've not told me what I've done. And this is like hours later. They picked me at 2 and this is around 5. They hadn't told me what I'd done. So then the guy said, okay, I will write it for you, but you tell me, you answer my questions. So it's like, you know, what's your name? Where do you live? What do you do for work? And then he asked, so why did you make the website? And I'm like, excuse me.
Bless you.
When he said that, I took I took like a deep breath, like, oh, so it's only the website. Because at that point, my brain had started filling things, like filling the blanks with the worst possible, like maybe this, because I had a second-hand phone, so maybe the phone belonged to someone, and then it was like stolen and then sold to me, you know, like you start thinking in that direction because of the force that they've been using all along. So when he's asking me, why did you make the website? I literally, even before answering him, I told him, that's it. Is that why you guys have been treating me like this? And then they're like, we're just doing our job.
Oh, wow. So now at this point, they're telling you it's the website. Now, I know, you know, like you had that website you've talked about where you were helping people send emails to parliamentary committees and to MPs. But leading up to your arrest, you know, like what is it that what kind of work or career were you involved that maybe might have raised suspicion with security organs once they got to the email tool you created? Because you're talking about 15 officers, you know, like coming to arrest you. This is not a normal arrest, you know, because even when they normally come to arrest people, they don't come in a large group of 15 people.
Subaru ya Mambaru.
Yeah. So what exactly is it that you are doing work and career-wise, Rose?
Before that, I do branding and I do graphic design, software development, social media management, basically things in the digital space. And as a software developer, what had happened was before I made the tool for emailing, I had made a few other tools. One was a Chrome extension that basically applies satire by using Kasongo's nicknames in your browser.
Yeah.
So you can basically select which nickname you prefer, and then anytime he's name appears on your browser, just locally, it's not globally, it changes his name to his nicknames. Another tool I had before the finance bill, was a tool to track. It's called an insult tracker. Basically, there was a time after the 2004 fracas, and till now, alikuwa tu anatutukana. So I just started tracking them. And of course, if he's insulting us, other politicians also do the same. So that was the purpose of that site. And the reason I made this site, by the way, to me, it was just building my portfolio. I wasn't, and also it's because they align with like my beliefs that our current government does need to be challenged. But really, I was just building my portfolio. No one was paying me. I think that's why even to date, they still keep tracking me. No one was paying me to do these things. I was just like, I'm just a Kenyan looking for money. I have 2 kids. I used to live in a single room. I was struggling to make rent or to get business, to get work. So what do you do in that situation? You upskill, right? So I was upskilling. But at the same time, I was the reason I was building these things was because they align with my beliefs.
Okay.
And I don't know now at what point they decided that doing that was criminal. So
okay, so now when they were arresting you, were the charges just based on that email tool, or is it also based on all these other extra activity that you're doing, including these Chrome extensions and all these other tools you are building? Were they all included there, or it was just specific the email tool, Njeri?
in the charge sheet, the only thing that is mentioned is the emailing tool. However, when they were questioning me, when they were writing the statement, they asked me about all the other things. And for all of them, I think my lawyer has a copy of the statement. I basically said, first of all, this is ridiculous and I would like you to write that down. But he didn't. The policeman didn't write that down. But secondly, none of these tools is like crime. Everything I've done is protected by our constitution, freedom of expression. And I am literally working with what you're giving us. So you're giving us a finance bill that is punishing us, and I'm giving the people a way to respond to that. Or you're insulting us, I'm giving people a way to see the things you're saying about us. So there's nothing illegal here. There's nothing criminal that I did to deserve, 15 men shouting at me, insulting me for like hours, So, yeah.
Wow, this is this is quite mind blowing, even just to think about it, because it feels like beyond the streets, the internet has become Kenya's new frontline, where the fight for accountability and free expression is now playing out. Now, Njeri, while creating your digital tool, did you ever at one point sense that online activism itself would one day be treated as a national security threat? Or was did all this came as a surprise to you?
All of it came as a surprise to me, and it's a way that the government is using the law to intimidate us. Because before my arrest, everyone was being arrested for dissent. I mean, for political reasons. That's what I mean. Was being arrested under the Cyber Crimes Act. Okay. After my arrest, they started using the Terrorism Act.
Wow.
So now if you're in the crowd of people who are agitating for change, if you're out there and they catch you, they'll say you're committing terrorism, which is an insult to the law, the Terrorism Act. I mean, it's an insult to that, because there are actual terrorists right now in northeastern Kenya. There are there's a government official publicly, this is information that's in the public domain. There's a government official who is arming the RSF in Sudan right now. And isn't that more terror than someone going to the streets to say, mumetufinya sana. Like, we don't have money. Here you are taxing us. Here you are passing laws that are literally against the constitutions. I mean, it's illegal. Like, how are you? There's freedom of expression. How are you passing something that then curtails this freedom of expression? So is it illegal that I am saying, apana, you cannot do that? But then now, for these people who are arming rebels, for these people who are allowing terrorists in Northeastern, nothing is happening to them. You see, so when they are abusing these laws, what they are doing is giving us fear. And even right now, if something actually happens, like currently, there's two men, Nick Oyo and Bob Njagi,
yes,
who have been missing. But right now, you cannot tell people to go to the streets because they know very well utashikwa uwekwe ndani for terrorism. The bail is 300,000 in an economy that is not working. Where are you going to get that money? There's people who've been inside the cells from June 2025 till now. I mean, they were being released maybe last week by a few NGOs that work in that space, where they've been in cell for those months, for like 100 days plus, just maybe because they were in the crowd, wrong place, wrong time. You were walking to the shop, but there was a crowd somewhere, and now when the police captured people, you're one of the people who's been captured. You've been slapped with terrorism charges. I mean, how are you going to convince people right now to go to the streets for Bob? People are scared. So their fear tactics have worked.
Wow, so this is clearly, so this is clearly an intimidation tactic. Even that idea of coming at you with 15 DCI officers is an intimidation tactic so that you can go tell your story, so that anyone else who thinks about doing something like that, they get scared. And I think this has been common. I remember even Kina Boniface Mwangi were also arrested under those terrorism charges. So we're living in a very scary space. I want to remind all the listeners that you're tuned into the OneMic Show. I'm your host and producer, Ali Badawi. We're talking to Rose Njeri, the digital activist once branded a rebel for building civic tools that let Kenyans hold their leaders accountable online. She's freshly honored in New York as one of TIME100’s rising stars. Njeri just walked us through the events that led to her arrest, the legal absurdities that followed, and how Kenya's online spaces became the new frontline for free expression. We'll shortly shift to how Rose Njeri moved from being targeted by the state to being honored on the global stage as one of TIME100’s rising stars. We'll dig into what the moment meant for her and what she's been up to since landing in New York this week, which she's already told us a bit of. So keep it locked for that and more. And please drop a comment below and let us know what you think on if Kenya only values its activists when they get global awards. Type yes or no in the comment sections below. Do you think Kenya only values its activists when they get global awards? Please type yes or no, whether you're on Facebook or on YouTube. And our lines are open. The number to call, 202-683-4570. Press a *5 to speak. Before I come back again to the studio, I want to go to you, Rose. And I want to go back to the moment the world caught up with you finally. How did the TIME100 recognition actually happen? Was it a call? Was it an email? And what went through your mind when you realized your story had just gone global? Njeri.
Okay, first of all, during my arrest, the story went global, like at that point, because there was a lot of correspondence I was getting from journalists, from major news agencies. So, however, this nomination came, to me, it was unexpected. This journalist from Time called Billy Perijo reached out via Signal and said, "Hi Rose, we got your number from here, and we are nominating you for the Time 100 Next list. We are considering you for the Time 100 Next list." So I was like, "Yeah, sure. You let me know what you decide." And then I look it up, and I realized, oh, this is actually a big deal. The names that are there from, the previous years, we've had 4 Kenyans before me. The Time 100 Next list started in 2020 or 2021, not so sure. And there's 4 Kenyans. Someone called Kennedy Odede, who does an NGO in Kibra and Muslim areas called Shofco. Then there's Crystal Asige, the super senator in the current government. And then there's 2 people who I never remember the names. I'm so sorry to them, but one sued Summer Source, the company that was exploiting Kenyans for AI when they were looking for AI content, when they were making AI, that is, and she sued them. And then another was in the environmental category, like in the environmental space. And then now I'm the 5th Kenyan on that list. So I realized that it's a big deal pretty quickly and started hoping I'd get it. Yeah. And yeah.
Wow, that's quite compelling because I was even assuming you were the first Kenyan there, and I'm glad to know the ones you mentioned. I did not know that Crystal Asige is also on that list. So good to know. And that Time 100 honor, so besides the honor, once you've gotten the award or the honor, what does it come with? Are there any perks that will help you elevate what you're already doing? Njeri?
Yani kuna brown envelope.
Akuna award. There's no financial award, but just the opportunity to interact with have you seen the names on that list?
Yeah.
So just the opportunity to be in the same
space, yeah.
In the same space with such people, and there's other activists to do things that are aligned to what I do. There's activists in health, in the environment. There was even someone, the first woman to, I don't know, send something to space or something like that. It's brilliant people. So just being in that space, I think to me is the perk, like getting to meet these people, share ideas, see how we can, make the world a better place for everyone. So there's no money, there's no physical gifts or whatever, but there's that recognition that what you're doing hasn't gone unnoticed.
Okay, and that in itself is good enough. We have a comment here from Wakiloski from Baltimore. He says Njeri ashikane na watu bunge la mwananchi Bill Network with the ground. Commenting from Baltimore, home of the birds and La Marvelous. Okay, I think he's talking here.
Go Ravens, baby, all day, every day.
Okay,
Ali, that was difficult for you, right?
Yes.
But why should it be? Because
he's a commander.
No, but that's NFC.
No, he's a commander. It doesn't matter.
No, it's NFC.
All right. The number to call is 202-683-4570. Press star 5 to speak. DJ Omosh Fire, let me come back to you. Just bringing this back here. We've always talked about how effective music and art is to activism. And I've always, tried to get artists to elevate their art into activism. But with Rose and many others since before the Gen Z revolt, we are seeing a new phase of digital creativity in what I'm coining as techvism, or which is tech activism. What can we learn from Rose's experience? And maybe do you feel the Kenyan diaspora is lagging behind when it comes to tech activism?
Remember, techvism.
Yes. And I just coined it. I'm the one who coined it.
Tekangawa?
Yeah. Yes,
Oh.
techvism. In case you hear it anywhere else,
Okay.
it came from here first.
And birthed when we have one of our tech visits, that one.
Sounds like Madhagodanios.
Yeah.
But
Biggie now,
thank you. Useless. See me after class. So Rose, don't mind these two in the studio. Awa tu agaivi. So for me, when we're talking about the activism and now using our digital, I guess, space platforms and all of that, I think for us here in the diaspora, we're really lagging behind, because when you look at the Gen Zs and the digital space, X became like, and it still is. I guess I'd call it what? The door. I would call it the meeting room.
Yeah.
Right. And then, like we
the people's kamkunji.
Yes. It basically was like a very effective way of reaching anybody anywhere without you having to leave wherever you are. And you don't have to look over your shoulder saying, hey, maze, watu wanakuja. Because you are there virtually, but your thoughts are there physically. I don't know if that's making sense. And just that by itself has opened something that we never thought of. And for us here in the diaspora, yes, we've had, things like, I guess maybe at most you'd say WhatsApp, Teams or whatever.
Yeah.
But we have not used, like, I never ever saw X being used at the level that it's being used now.
Yeah, but do you feel like Kenyans in the diaspora maybe are lagging a bit behind?
Yes,
compared to Kenyans in Kenya?
Extremely, because even with the X spaces that we have now seen that have opened up, we here in the diaspora don't
we don't have those. They're all from Kenya.
We don't utilize them.
Yeah.
When we get those invites into tunaendaga, real quick Ali be like, "Hey, almost ebu ingia hapa jo maze kumeaka." But we ourselves here don't do that. We'll complain within our chat groups, maybe if you're in a certain group or whatever you want to call it. Maybe, messages that we send in our, what do we call it, WNN, WhatsApp News Network.
Yeah.
But other than that, we are not doing or utilizing those spaces at the level that the Gen Zs, or I'd say Kenyans on the ground, are using them. They're so far ahead with those digital tools, and that's just one of them. I had Rose talk about Signal. Yeah,
I know.
Signal. We just know Signal because of
traffic.
The only
Trump.
The only reason we know Signal is because of Trump and that group that they were discussing. Yeah, because out here.
Yeah.
And another interesting thing, WhatsApp is very old, but I first found out about WhatsApp from a Kenyan. Like when WhatsApp was new.
Correct.
It seems like people back home are normally ahead of the game.
With the digital stuff, yes. Software, things like that, like we here would be, let's say hypothetically, we are dealing with, say, Teams, and the rooms of Teams, them wako kwa Slack. Ama washae pitata Slack wakadonja padi pengine, So like they're always like a step or two or three above and beyond. And I'm not sure if it's because maybe some of those tools are, I'd say, data friendly, meaning that you use less data when you use certain tools than others, so jammers adapt and say, hey, maze hapa ndio pale tunafaa kwenda, or there is nobody who is checking over our shoulders as they have been, when we're in here, or even if they come into our X spaces and check, there's nothing you can do about it, because if I'm the admin, huwezi funga.
Right.
You can't call anybody. There's nothing you can do. You come in here, you see what's in here, and you have to try to figure out, Kizito was a banger. Is that Ali? Is it Omosh? Is it Njeri? You can't tell. So from that perspective, I'd venture to say we in the diaspora are really, really slacking, or should I say lagging behind, and not utilizing the things that are at our fingertips.
Now, Unomai, do you agree with Omosh that we are lagging behind, especially when it comes to using these tools, like for trying to effect policy change? Because at the height of the Gen Z revolt, when there was, like multiple Twitter spaces, like every day, like happening, like anytime, 24 hours a day, you would find a Twitter space somewhere. And to me, I got introduced to Twitter spaces by Kenyans using it. So
exactly.
Yeah.
And I think you've answered the question. I think for us, there's so much going on, like let's say, for example, that we're here because we have so much on our plate because we have a situation here that's going on.
Yes.
And then when we look back, we've got family back there. But we find out that for us to join in, let's say, for example, the Twitter spaces that you're talking about, usually it's probably somebody that you're following.
Yeah.
And they're having that discussion. And then you quickly, like, hey, by the way, Kivutha Kibwana has this, ama hii chat imewaka, ama this, that, the other. It's not that we are unaware. We are ahead. I mean, we know that there's technology, but Kenyans are on a different level. And we have a very good example here because with Rose. Because we did not know of this tool.
No.
We did not.
No, we didn't.
We have not even been on it.
Exactly.
If you ask us how to do ABC Atujui.
Because remember, we've had this discussion, and maybe she can chime in on this. How we have so many, we have iHub, we have so many tech, not startups, but there's that iHub that where there's so much investment by outside people, ventures that come in to create this hub, to create this cocoon, egg to nurture tech, and very many, because M-Pesa. You've heard of guys who are talking about, there's this guy who was complaining about something that was stolen from him, where if you go to Naivas or you go to any shop, like there's so much technology.
Yeah.
And probably so much that is coming out, and so many things, so many people that are developing things that should make our lives better and easier, but we don't hear about that.
But it's interesting, and the two of you are in the tech field. So let me go back to Rose.
Yes.
Does this come as surprising to you? I know it's your first time in the US, but does it come as surprising that a lot of these tools that a lot of young folks are using in Kenya to do different things are at our fingertips here, but we are not familiar? Does this come as a shock to you, Rose?
So I would say that I do not begrudge the diaspora for not using these tools, because I feel like we use them from a point of need that you don't necessarily have.
Okay.
Like adapt or die type of thing. Like we have to think of ways to use these things. But for you guys, I mean, things work. You don't really have to,
and
do too much.
To buttress her point, mostly what we need or what we have working for us is to send money to M-Pesa.
You're talking about to send money to Kenya?
Yeah, to send money to Kenya. To M-Pesa.
Yeah, but I think...
But like now, because you think about it, like she said, it's a point of need. So like now, wherever she was seated, she's like, let me create something to make it easier so that people in Kenya can actually just enter their email address, and then it can, once it's sent, it comes from them.
Yeah,
simple.
Yes,
like when you look at it, it's trying to make things easier, and like now, even when you look at the rideshare apps that are in Kenya that come up and then they go, security, or you're looking at food delivery, food shopping, whatever. Here, like when you look, things just work. Like you wanna to go back on Rose's point, I think what she means is that there's certain fundamental issues that Kenyans have. Yes.
Like for example, none of us is gonna sit here and think of creating a tool to send for people to send an email to Senator Chris Van Hollen.
No, because the system already works.
The system already works.
You can send it.
You can send it.
You just go to the thing, you send it, and they'll get it. And someone will
respond. And they will call you.
Respond. And they will call you back.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think, like...
Because think about it. Yeah. Even if you send an email to Murkomen, to any government official.
Yeah.
Are you going to get a call back?
No, it goes into a dark hole.
Are you going to get a call back?
No,
let's say, for example, you want to complain about fuel prices, levy, or whatever. Whatever the complaint is, finance bill, who are you gonna call?
Forget about Murkomen, forget about a cabinet secretary, even an MCA.
MCA,
yeah.
Who are you gonna call? So now here you have you have a simple thing. Enter your email address. It's gonna go to the finance bill, the secretariat, the persons,
the public participation people, whoever
Simple.
it is that are taking looking at it.
and it is public participation.
Yes.
That is supposed to be. It is enshrined in the constitution.
Yes.
That for you to participate, there's public participation. So it is a digital form of public participation.
Yes, and public participation is another very controversial issue where they've not created a law. It's been enshrined in the constitution, but it was one of those parliament, shall create a law to do X, Y, Z, so it's not been there. So there are people who are arguing that it's a checking box exercise. We're going to be talking about that later on in the show.
Because Ali, I can tell you that hub, it's not iHub.
Yeah.
There's so many. And Njeri, please comment on this. There's so many Kenyans who have innovated a lot of, for lack of a better word, I want to say apps or technology to try and make it easier
to do things.
Yeah. You remember Chief Karaoke?
Yes, the Twitter chief.
Yeah. Something simple. Njeri, you remember that? Like, it's something simple, like the people are not familiar with Twitter.
Yeah.
But all you have to do is text, it goes, inafika Twitter, inasambaza.
Let me human Njeri before
Yes.
he responds.
Uh-huh.
Njeri, do you know out here in America if I owe Omosh, or if Omosh owes me, do I owe you or you owe me money?
Boss, you owe me money.
You may attend.
We took a
Okay.
trip.
You
may attend.
It was just an example.
You may attend, boss.
But let's say, let's for argument's sake, if I owe Omosh money,
You owe Omosh money.
If I owe him $100 and I want to pay him, do you know that's the most difficult thing to do digitally? You know the way in Kenya, mna exchange to M-Pesa or PAP. If we do not have the same banks, it becomes a whole, event. Do you have Cash App? Do you have Zelle?
Do you have
this?
PayPal? Do you have
Yes, something as simple as I want to send Omosh $100. In some cases, it may get to a point where I have to go withdraw the cash, give it to him.
Yep.
And yes, there's apps that have made it easier, but it's not like it is in Kenya, the way you can pay a boda guy with M-Pesa. So maybe talk to us about those tech spaces and what they're doing to activism. Rose.
Okay, so first of all, I did not know that it's that difficult in this country to send money in that way.
Yes.
Because in Kenya, I can go for months without touching physical money.
Correct.
Everything is M-Pesa. Like, unaingia kwa matatu, you pay on M-Pesa. You go to the shop, you pay via M-Pesa. So that's very interesting to know. Secondly, that thing about iHub or about the tech space in Kenya, there's something very interesting that's been happening, especially since, let's say, around 2020 to present, where there's people who make things that, or apps or tools that perhaps aren't particularly innovative. So let's say there was this guy, I don't remember the name of the app, but he made an app that was supposed to allow you to buy food from a mama mboga. So the question then became, what's the difference between that and like Uber Eats or any of these others?
Mm-hmm.
But then this guy was able to raise like 100 million USD in funding. And to us, it seemed like just because he's white, So like it started being a joke that if you need something, if you need to make a tool, you need a white co-founder. So like no matter what it is. And then what happens with these apps is that when they get this money, within 2-3 years, they close shop. They suddenly have a LinkedIn post saying how difficult it is to run the business or whatever, and you're left thinking you had 100 million US dollars, not Kenyan shillings. Already 100 million Kenyan shillings would be like an extreme amount of money.
Yes, it would be a lot, yes.
So where's, like, what did you do with it? You know, like, what did your company do? How did you benefit the people you were saying you were going to benefit? And now you're saying you're closing shop. So there's people like that, for sure. And it became a whole thing. But currently I'm seeing also that we are also pushing back as techies in that, okay, first of all, there's things like Safaricom are funding software that has been made that is already working, like, because there's a lot of creativity in the Kenyan space. Mm-hmm. And again, I think that creativity comes from a point of need. And so you'll find someone has made, like, there's an app called QPay app, where this person automates the process of selling things like milk, water, cooking oil, the things that come via dispensers. So, like, he's made the hardware for it, and he's actually sold to a few small businesses, and you can actually see it working. And then they end up maybe getting into code competitions, and then they win funding or get support from companies like Safaricom, and then they are able to scale. But they're scaling on something that they've proven that is already working. Mm-hmm. And like some other people who now come in with ideas, maybe from wherever they are from, like a food app, at sasa you're connecting not mama mboga, but the kibanda people, you're connecting their food to the consumers, and it's like, that's not a need in Kenya. Like, we can just walk there, you understand?
Yeah.
So there's a problem with getting real funding to real ideas, but I think perhaps that's going to change.
You know,
is change.
Yes. You know, you bring a very, very interesting aspect, because I've always been interested in that venture space in Kenya, especially when it comes to tech, you know, like in the startup space. Because it's still, I would not say it's new, it's been around for a while, but it's still very opaque in as far as how can my idea get funded. It seems like there's a network of people who know each other and know how to get the funding. Then actual people, actual Kenyans with real ideas may languish with the ideas because they do not have that setup, or they do not have that white friend that will be able to attract that money. Because the venture space, you know, like, it's these big venture capital firms that have the next big idea, you know, like what will be selling. And we've had some exciting ideas, and it's interesting where Njeri is talking about, like, these ideas where you're not actually solving a problem. You're creating your own problem that doesn't exist, and then you're solving that non-existent problem, and then you're getting 100 million in funding when there's actual people who are solving actual problems.
We're not going to call out names, but that is agreed. So you create a problem.
Yes.
Find a solution.
Yeah, we know who does that.
Then you sell it.
And we're not going to call his name.
No.
Yeah, we're not calling his name.
Donald Trump. Sorry. No.
Yeah.
We're not going to call out names.
Yeah.
But this has been an issue. And I think Rose mentioned that, where it's like, in order for people to believe or to buy into your idea, there has to be a certain face in front of it.
Yes.
A white face.
A white face.
Yes. Certain type of face.
And by the way, even here,
yeah, it's the same.
It's the same
thing.
It's actually the same.
Yeah,
yes.
For black people to get venture funding is
yeah.
And I'm speaking from experience.
You always need a white Jewish friend.
Yes.
To be the front guy.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
You know, like, you have to have that face,
Yeah.
right? That people meet when they come into the office, they meet, you're greeted.
Yeah.
But that decision cannot be made. Then the person who's supposed to make the decision comes out looking like Ali or looking like Omosh.
But
Then they're confused. They're like,
Yeah.
wait,
Yes.
what? And that has happened. But I think it's more prevalent, especially like, and this is something that Omosh can attest to. Like, when it comes to the IT space, I think there's so much talent IT-wise in Kenya.
it's
In the
extreme.
IT space,
It's ridiculous.
It's
Yeah.
it is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Wange kuja hapa, they would blow out these
Of course.
our peeps from Hyderabad.
If Silicon Valley
Understood.
decided,
Yeah.
let me go to the 254 and hunker there for 1 year, Buddha boss.
They're actually kind of sort of doing it, but it's almost like an experimental.
Again, it is, but
It's
again,
experimental.
like she's saying, it's out of need.
Yeah.
Yes.
And-
Like then, for example,
Yeah.
and this is somebody mentioned something, and maybe it's there. Pharmacies,
Chemist.
sorry,
Yeah.
wow. Chemist.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you look at Mashinani, it is hard. Like, you write a prescription, but you're writing a prescription that. So how is Shosho supposed to understand what this is? Like, but if you can facilitate a way, like
Yeah.
you on your app, just send something. 1 and 2 5. Like now here, you go and see a doctor. Like CVS or address or whatever. This is what we're gonna do.
Then you go pick up your prescription.
Just go pick up prescription.
Yeah.
Their chances are that probably somebody has already thought about something that works.
So I actually have a guest in mind because this right here seems like it needs to be a show on its own.
Yes, it does.
I have a guest in mind, and like he's been in Kenya. He happens to be white, but I think he's usually very candid and honest
About his whiteness or about...
No, to admit these things that are happening in the Kenyan tech space.
Yeah.
He's very candid, like he knows a lot of Kenyans. He's been in Kenya so many years. So he's very candid, and he will tell me that this is what's going on. This is what you need to do to get funding. He's like, he doesn't agree with it, but that's how the situation is.
Because you can imagine, yeah, Rose Njeri with just her simple idea of a link, just enter your, like, how much it would have garnered.
Hers was a need for advertising her business.
No, I know.
I'm just saying. See, that's what she told us.
Okay.
You guys
Yeah.
guys just happened to exist hapo pale mulikuwa munapewa muweke email yenu.
And imagine if, let's say, for example, if it was something that was in Silicon Valley,
and
somebody picked that
this would
up,
gone flying.
Uyu,
Yes.
it would have been so easy because guess what? People now pick up stuff. Like, they'll be like, this is something good that we never tried over here. Let's see if we can, with our campaign, whatever. Then next thing you know, it is being sent to your representative, your ward, whatever, when you break down the political
The
structure
council
here.
man, your local council,
Like,
mayor,
oh my God,
blah,
okay.
blah, and work it out.
Think
Work
about
it up,
that.
Now actually, Njeri, now that we're talking about this, like it seems that with this Time 100 honor, you may be able to interact with people in different spaces who you can connect with to help you elevate some of what
scale. Yes,
elevate what you're doing. So is there anything that you're planning while you're still in the US? Is there any people that you've connected with to maybe collaborate or work on any projects or any stops on your schedule? How long, by the way, are you going to be in the US?
I'm leaving tomorrow.
What do you mean?
At a New York pizza, I hope you've sampled New York pizza.
At least, yeah.
New York pizza, burgers.
Wow, that's such a quick exit.
In and out.
Wow, okay. That came as a shocker. Like we did not expect. We were even hoping that you were gonna come down to DC.
Uingie kwa gari, gari la moshi, udonjo.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not staying for long, but I don't know. Maybe there'll be other opportunities to stay for that much longer.
Yes.
However, from my meeting yesterday, from my gala event, I would say that I did make some important connections. There's a lot of activists, there's a lot of advocates and leaders who were on the list, who we got to interact with. And,
Good.
you know, I think there's potential to work together with them.
Okay.
And as for future plans, or like what I'm doing next, my two focus areas are surveillance and accountability. So surveillance, because I have been surveilled and continue to be surveilled. And accountability, because we need to shine a light on basically what they are doing in parliament, in a way that Kenyans, even the people who are in the mashinani, people who are not very tech savvy or educated, in a way that they can just understand what's going on. So on the aspect of surveillance, it's that there's a lot of illegality that is being permitted to be done. And this is very dangerous, especially when you have a despot for a leader, because they will abuse it. They will use it to track anyone for any reason, and it's not a safe space to live in as an ordinary Kenyan, because at the end of the day, I was just an ordinary Kenyan, just making these tools and moving on with my life like whatever. Not many people are even using it or even seeing it, and now look what they did to me. So having that surveillance being done, having our devices confiscated and getting spyware installed, that sort of thing is illegal. But what are the cyber security laws should be addressing things like that, and instead what he's passing is things like, if you post something and I feel like it made me suicidal, then I can sue you. And not sue you for a civil thing, but for a criminal thing. I can decide you're a criminal just for a tweet, for saying something, So meanwhile, they're doing these illegalities that are not being governed. There are no clear laws as to, there are, but they are not being followed. For instance, if you're investigating someone, there are certain things you should be asking for, like informing the court that you need permission to do surveillance on this subject because they are doing this and that. They don't do that. They just surveil you without any paperwork involved and all that. So that's very dangerous. And that's what I want to work on highlighting. And then on the accountability side, it's basically it's a very wide topic. There's things around IEBC and elections. There's things around the laws. Like, we never know what Parliament is discussing, what laws are due for public participation. Sometimes they'll tell you, okay, we are passing this thing, we want your feedback, but then they're like, in 2 days. In 2 days, how many people are going to be able to send their feedback? How many people are going to be able to look at your amendments in a critical manner and give you actual feedback that you can use, So when they want to pass things that are not legal, they rush them in that way. And so we need to point a light at these bad things that they're doing, because our constitution literally enshrines that public participation into the law. So, they're not, and sometimes when they do this public participation, sometimes they're required to go to the counties to the ground. They call people in, and then they take feedback from them around whatever bill is being passed. So do you know what happens? In these cases, they send the person, maybe the MPs or the person who is sponsoring the bill, sends their people with like, here, go and say this. And that, whatever they say, is the one that is recorded. Or sometimes the panel that is there for the public participation is literally on their phone, like not listening to what is being discussed by the people they're there to listen to. You see, so if they're able to maybe adapt a hybrid way where they're able to do the physical public participation and actually be able to quantify, we had 100 people, 20 people agreed with the bill, 40 people said no. If they're able to do that, and then also now for the digital aspect, which is a thing I want to improve on, if the government can actually adapt this public participation thing digitally, where they're able to actually quantify. We got 100 emails. 20 said this said no. Even when you start complaining, they're not listening to us. Even the government can be like, okay, look, here is what we did. Here are the stats from the public participation activity. However, because they don't want, they want things to go their way. They don't really want to listen to us, then if you create such a thing, ndo huyo wewe umelala kwa cell, which is an illegality in itself.
Wow.
So those are things I'm working on basically.
Wow, like Njeri, there's so much to unpack from what you just said. Starting with besides the public participation, you talked about surveillance, because that's another monster that I think has not quite been understood. Mm-hmm. You had 15 people, come pick you up from wherever you are. They knew where you stayed, and they had all details about you, which means clearly they must have either been surveilling or maybe they harvested your data. And I can think the lowest hanging fruit is always our cell phones. Who has the data belonging to our cell phones is Safaricom.
Or Airtel.
Yes, and Airtel, but most people have Safaricom. And I know this issue has come up, and the CEO has denied that Safaricom...
Gen Z protest, yes.
Safaricom is doing it. But how are these security organs getting access to real-time data of exactly where you are?
It's being supplied to them, and they're being told it's under the guise of, now
national
like
security.
Said, it's the terrorism.
Now,
and remember, if they're coming in and saying that we are tracking terrorists.
And remember also, she said they knew where
everything,
her apartment number.
Kila kitu.
Yes.
And in fact, when she talked about, I want to go pick up my child,
they said, no problem, we got
that's fine. But instead of going to the child's school, they went to her apartment.
They went to the apartment.
Left.
Yeah.
Wakachapa left. Think about that.
That's
because I think that is major, Njeri. And
that's when Njeri should have thrown away the tricycle key.
No, but I'm thinking of our concerns, like as diasporans.
Yes.
When we go back home, we do have, like Safaricom lines. Some of us have existing ones. There are people who get new ones when they go there. Correct. And then they expire, and then they have to get new ones when they go back. And then there are people who roam with their US numbers.
Yes.
So maybe Njeri, talk to us diasporans, what are some basics that we need to be wary of? Because some of us have participated in public protests here.
Me, I don't know, Ali.
In the embassy, and our faces are being seen on TV, and our names, and of course we're in this platform discussing.
Wewe uko hapa peke yako, boss. Mimi hawa sewa Subaru siwajui.
So what are some concerns that maybe diasporans who are engaged in some kind of activism need to be concerned, or where do they need to take caution? Njeri?
So with surveillance, I feel like whatever is even being done in Kenya is very basic. I don't know if any of you have watched this a documentary on HBO called Surveilled. Although even in that Surveilled, they were saying many of the people who are being surveilled by governments are activists in third world countries mostly. So African
Is that with Pegasus?
disports, maybe. Yes, which is very expensive actually.
Yes, it is, yeah.
Right. And then, the government is using Pegasus to track a few people who it doesn't agree with. Anyway, surveillance is very pervasive, and I think it's even more pervasive in a country like yours, because everywhere you go, even in the bus, there's a CCTV. You can't, I don't know, but I think you can't get in without a ticket. There's nobody watching you, but I don't know if there's like someone at the end of the station who will stop you and be like, you didn't pay. I don't know. I didn't try that to see. But I mean, so there's surveillance is it's a part of our modern world. So, but anyway, if you go to Kenya, I think the basic things are use a VPN, don't be discussing sensitive things on call, use apps, like now I use Signal for calls, or I'd rather even use WhatsApp if you're not on Signal than do a call Safaricom to Safaricom, because most of these apps have some kind of encryption.
Correct.
Yeah, and if you go, I don't know, I think I would tell you just avoid Safaricom. But I know it's difficult because, as I said earlier, M-Pesa is everywhere. Mm-hmm. Like my business, I paid via M-Pesa. I will go to the matatu, give the conductor 500, is like, hauna M-Pesa. Because hataki kutafuta change, like send money on the phone. So it's difficult to stop using Safaricom, but if you're able to, I'd advise you to not. I think most of the people who've been harassed in the way that I was end up just throwing their SIM cards. Using other networks.
Njeri, what about like Airtel Money? What about like...
What's the alternative?
What's the alternative? Like Airtel Money, like... Because it looks like Safaricom, M-Pesa is the one that dominates, but there's some places that you go, they have a equity line, they have whatever.
They have those options, yeah.
Yeah, like...
But what's the option? Because,
okay, the options exist. Like Airtel Money is also good. It's even cheaper. Like something you'll pay 80 bob for on Safaricom, you'll pay 20 bob to transfer in M-Pesa. I mean in Airtel. However, the problem with Airtel, and I've been using Airtel since even before my arrest for years, and the problem is always there's not enough agents. So let's say you need to deposit money, you'll have to go like too far. Meanwhile, Safaricom, literally everywhere. Utenda pale kwa kona, there's one. Right ahead, there's another. So
this is a message to Airtel. Come on, Askiza.
Yes. Yes. They need to improve.
Yeah, but clearly, like if people are in agreement that this company is complicit in this activity that the government is participating in, I really don't know, like why. And like you said, they have a product that everyone needs, so it's not one of those things that you can just get away from. And then the other thing that I think also people also don't know their rights, because I think for DCI to be able to access your data, to be able to access your phone, or to be able even to access your house, they need to have written permission. They have to have a warrant.
Bro,
Ali, that sounds
on
very
paper.
nice. That sounds very
on paper
nice.
is very nice
Until you and Njeri.
Until you and Njeri. On paper.
Now amekuweka hapa mtu moja yuko kwa sura, mwingine yuko hapa amekushika nyuma, mwingine amenini na mwingine yuko ndani ya bag yako.
And by the way, you know, thank you for bringing that up. Thank you for bringing that up.
It's so intimidating.
Yeah.
On paper, Njeri, please walk us through on paper, constitutionally, the law, what is supposed to happen vis-a-vis what happened to you. So what happened to you? What is supposed to happen? What does the law prescribe if they're coming for you vis-a-vis what happened to you? Njeri, to you.
Okay, I think first things first, they take advantage of the fact that we do not know. We do not know the law.
Kabisa, 100%.
So, yes. So, in my case where they came for me, and I saw that they are taking me to my house, and I started hesitating, and they started grabbing my phones, because I was going to call someone and be like, they want to go to my house, and they grabbed my phone. If they come for you as a Kenyan in Kenya, and you're outside your house, kata, like, I don't have my key, I don't know, just look for an excuse. Let them, wacha wafanye kile watafanya, lakini refuse to give them access without seeing a warrant signed by some judge or something. There's a process for them to get that warrant. So, kata bila warrant. If you're in your house and they are outside your door saying fungua hapa, refuse. Okay, I would advise you to do not open that door. If you're alone, call your family, and then there's an LSK hotline, there's a defenders hotline. Defenders Kenya, they help people who are being harassed politically. Call those numbers and call your family or call somebody, a friend. Do not allow these people to get into your house when you're alone, because they can plant things, they can steal, like in my case.
Wow.
So do not, usikubali. And what else can I say? When they're doing their search, make sure they write everything that they collect.
Inventory.
Make sure they've written laptop, sijui wanaangalianga EMI number,
serial number.
If it is a flash disk, ni gani, like, make sure they've written everything they've taken. And then do not sign anything under force, under duress. Although, if you're under duress, you'll just do whatever they ask.
Correct, yes.
But make sure you say this was forcefully. I don't know. Find a way to communicate that this signature was forced at the end of the day. What else? Basically, as long as you're not, if you're a criminal, but if it's a politically instigated harassment, uko na haki. Refuse. As in me, I'm constantly thinking of that day and thinking, if I knew, I would have even thrown my key outside the car when it was moving. No, you can't enter my house without a warrant. But I didn't even know these rules.
But now, if you know the rules and you tell them, because these are people who are known not to follow the law. So if you know the law and tell them, are they gonna say, "Oh, congratulations, you know the law tutakuacha"? Ama, how does it happen? Because if it's men who are using force, and they discover you know the law, is that gonna stop them?
To be honest, they'll still do that force thing. But I feel like if you just I'm not doing this. Like, if you're able to just stand firm, just be like, hapana, this is wrong. Like, fanyeni kile mtafanya. Although you might be hit, or your house might be the door might be broken, whatever. But
but
I feel like causing a scene, because I mean your neighbors will come to see nini inaendelea. So causing a scene also helps.
And people take videos.
But let me ask. And again, here's a contrast. I am sure all of you watched the video of this Jama insulting cops in a police station.
That was in Diani.
Correct. Yeah.
Are we together?
Yeah.
Yes.
The Dutch guy.
The Dutch guy.
Yeah.
Then there was a clip that was shared. So I was watching Citizen. I'm giving props to News Gang. And I think this was either, who was it? Anyway, talking about, so there was a clip of the cop,
The insulter.
being abused mpaka anapakwa makamasi.
Correct.
Then on the flip side, they showed a clip of a guy who was literally just madhogodhaniering a fellow Kenyan woman. Kumskuma. Twende! Anamskuma.
A cop.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'll share that clip with you.
Okay.
And I'm like, it's like, ikikuja tu wazungu,
There's a different set of rules. Yeah.
Lakini these guys, these same cops, are not brave enough. They're brave enough to accept insults from non-Kenyans, mzungu kwanza, but they are willing to mistreat. And this is a woman kwanza. We can't even tell what she has done. We don't even know what the charges are or whatever. Lakini he's walking behind her, pushing her. Twende.
Yes.
And I'm like, where? Like, again, this is one of those things that we just need to study. Like, make it make sense.
I think cops behave based on experience, because I believe cops are very deliberate in what they do. They behave based on experience. And they know that there's a tendency to overprotect tourists. So if you touch a tourist as a cop, you're probably going to either lose a job or... and I'm not saying that's the right thing to do.
It's not. No,
Yeah.
I'm with you.
But
I'm with you, brother.
I think these cops, they behave.
It makes
based
them hesitate.
Yes, they behave based on kiona ni mzungu anajua huyu hapa nikimgusa for any one reason or another.
There could be more.
I could be transferred to Marsabit or I could lose a job.
Yeah.
So, and those are the things where someone once said that the police, they changed the name from police force to police service, but that was essentially just applying lipstick on a pig, but it's still a pig.
Yes.
Someone was saying this police force, as it is, it needs to be disbanded. And we start another one afresh from ground up.
With new candidates.
Yes, with new candidates. So I don't know, maybe let Rose react to that, because that was a video that was trending and it was very shocking to me, because these white people,
I don't know why you are shocked.
They cannot do that in their own countries. They cannot even do anything close to that in their own countries.
But here we have seen aspects of a few Karens.
But what that guy did.
What
he did. Yeah, okay, sawa.
Kuna zingine
Njeri, who is also Njeri is my mother's name anyway. My mother is called Njeri.
Oh, so this is auntie.
No. My mother is called Njeri. That's auntie for you.
Yes,
so you better put some respect. Njeri, mami, maito, diena bere.
Haya.
Mother midia.
Okay, how?
To me, that is a sign, a showing of internalized racism. I know of this story of okay, you guys know Chicken Inn,
Yes.
Pizza Inn.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know that franchise.
Yeah.
Yes.
So usually what happens is it's pretty much self-service. You go to the counter, you pay, you
Yes.
make your order, and then
Yes.
you go and sit and wait, and then you go back to the counter, you pick your order,
Yes.
and then you go eat.
Correct.
But so someone was saying they were in a store somewhere, and an American walks in. Okay, a white person, walks in, and these guys are falling over themselves to go serve this person in this store where we usually go to the counter. Like this guy is like, "Sir, do you need anything?" He makes his order from over there.
Where he's seated.
Like, yes, wherever he's seated, the order is collected, it's taken to him. But nyinyi mpange line pale.
Correct. And you
So
have to
it's
wait
just-
for the other guy. Yeah.
It's just a form of internalized racism, and it's just a relic of colonialism. It's what the colonialists did best. They made us hate ourselves, and it shows up in these small ways.
Wow.
You think, white is better. And again, it ties back to the tech thing that I was saying before. You need a white co-founder to get this money to fund your business. You know what I mean? It's just internalized racism.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate. We have Goodia who's tuned in here on YouTube.
Hey, Goodia is
And Goodia and
going
Asema,
into it.
Njeri, it's all great and brave to be safe. Do away with Safaricom. I can never touch Safaricom with a big pole. Big Brother will be used for the unfortunate, but not the elite. And then here anasema, but we have to acknowledge the dictatorship in Kenya, leave alone East African countries. Goodia then says, what happens on papers is different from reality. Let's be real. Example, MOU great on papers, but not practical implemented. This is by the way. And then anasema, for the law to be implemented, stop the bribes first.
That's a whole other story. That's a whole other WhatsApp group.
The guy apparently overstayed his visa and suffers mental health issues all of a sudden. This thing called mental health issues, it's been very inappropriately used.
Hata mimi nitatumia. This guy, it's
Because-
the same way that we hear. Unaweza tumia race card nini. Use what you use.
No, because
When it comes to white people,
Use what you
it's
use.
appropriately used.
Yeah.
Use what you use.
because
Wakwende.
your mental health issues, what mental health issue will make you, like unatoa makamasi unaanza kupaka watu, and that's where, like I'll be, and maybe it's good to have conversations with mental health experts, but I think it is misused to excuse a lot of bad behavior.
Of course.
There are real mental health issues in the community.
Especially white behavior.
Yes, but it's also being used. A lot of these white people will come out and say, I was going through a mental health episode, where they are really just being,
sorry,
they're really just being disrespectful, like they used to.
Like to Karens.
Yes, but anyway, I want to remind the listeners that you're tuned into the OneMic Show. I'm your host and producer, Ali Badawi, of course, talking to Rose Njeri, the digital activist once branded as a label for building civic tools that let Kenyans hold their leaders accountable online. She's been freshly honored in New York as one of TIME100’s rising stars. She just shared, the incredible story behind that recognition, her advocacy here in the US, and how she's using global platforms to shine a light on Kenya's digital youth movement. We'll shortly shift focus back home. What happened after the Gen Z protests faded? Why are so many Kenyans still unregistered to vote? And how is Rose helping citizens understand the burden of Kenya's growing odious debt? So keep it locked for that and more. Please drop a comment and let us know if you think Gen Z will actually show up to vote en masse in 2027. Type yes or no below in YouTube, on Facebook. Do you think Gen Z will actually show up en masse to vote in 2027? Of course, our lines are open. The number to call, 202-683-4570. Press *5 to speak. Now, Rose, let me come to you. When the dust settled after those massive Gen Z protests last year, many young people seemed unsure where to turn to next, who to follow, and what the next step should be. From your vantage point, Rose, what did life after the protests look like, both online and on the ground? Because there seems to be a state of confusion. Rose.
I will throw it back to you and ask what you mean by the state of confusion.
Yes, so the state of confusion is we are approaching 2027 and the oppressors they're reorganizing, they're realigning, their formations are taking shape, they're rebranding, they're doing everything. But then on this other side, we're not seeing any direction, any organization, or even, I know there was that mantra that they're leaderless, but this time is running out, and it is running out very fast. The other side is organizing, but the confusion I'm talking about is that some people who are very prominent in the movement, some of them have been swallowed and been co-opted by political parties. Some went another way, tried to create their own movements and their own parties. So there's no, like, even for those of us who were looking up to the Gen Z movement, we kind of don't know where to look at, because things are scattered all over the place. But this other side is directing their focus. So that's what I mean by confusion. Rose, talk to us.
That is a difficult question or topic because, as you said, the movement was leaderless. For me, I feel like the leaderless aspect of it helped it grow to the point that it grew to. But now we are starting to see the problems of it not having a leader. But at the end of the day, I feel like what leaderless meant was that the onus is on us, on all of us. So we don't need someone to tell us, hey, majama, twendeni. Like, you feel it yourself. You're like, apana, I'm going to protest in my own way. That was the point of it being leaderless. But at this point, I feel like there's people who've come out and said, I want to be the president, but there are many. And I mean on our side, on not the career politicians, but this side of us where we have activists, we have leaders who actually care. So we have Akina Maraga Omtata, we have Sungu Oyo, we have Boniface Mwangi. These are people who've been with the movement even before the Gen Z movement did their thing in 2024. But they are all separately trying to do this one thing. And I think that if they want to actually succeed against the career politicians who are very, very much organizing and collecting themselves in a group, is that they will need to also come together. And then this mass of leaderless youth, we will follow them. So I think the people who've identified themselves need to just hold kamkutano kadogo so that we can have our Kibaki moment, because we need it.
Wow, I mean, I like the sound of that, so that we can have our Kibaki moment. And there's some particular leaders that you mentioned, which I'm glad you did. You mentioned Omtata, you've mentioned Maraga, you've mentioned Boniface Mwangi, who's been part of the movement even before those protests. I don't know whether, I could throw in Jimmy Wanjigi there, or if Jimmy Wanjigi is neither here nor there.
Jimmy Wanjigi lazima.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Has he taken a stance?
No, he's the party leader of Safina.
He's a party leader of Safina, yes.
Yes, he took over from Paul Mwite, and he said he's going to vie for president. Rose.
what I'd like to know your opinion as the diaspora on Jimmy Wanjigi. Before I tell you my opinion as myself, not as
Okay.
you know.
So
Yeah.
let me tell you, let me give you my opinion as myself, and not maybe as the diaspora. But let me give you my opinion as myself. From Jimmy Wanjigi, I learned about odious debt. Something that I did not know existed.
True.
And he's been dribbling it, and that's one of the biggest issue. So the next president of Kenya, one of the biggest issues they'll solve, I am so glad, Kenyans, I'm so glad you're not considering me for the next president of Kenya. Because one of the biggest issues the next president of Kenya has to deal with is the issue of debt, because at the moment we're at about 75 shillings for every 100 shillings collected is going towards debt, and we are approaching like a very dangerous place whereby we are gonna be paying 110 shillings for every 100 bob collected if we are not careful, because we are continuing to take debts. So he's been very articulate about that issue, which to me is one of the big issues. I mean, of course, Jimmy Wanjigi comes with question marks. He comes with question marks because he has previously worked, closely with other politicians, not as the face, but behind closed doors with all these major politicians. He's the son of a former cabinet minister. But I'm also asking myself the question, do we have anyone who's clean and perfect? I mean, right now we have Kasongo. Kenya? Yeah, we have Kasongo as the president, and the goal is to get him out. I think majority of Kenyans, I'd say a good 70-80% agree that we need to get him out. He doesn't have what it takes to be able to get Kenya out of where it is because of what's going on. So I'm not saying I've not decided on Jimmy Wanjigi, but what I'm saying is I think he should be considered, because he's been very aggressive on this one issue that's bringing down Kenya to their knees, and is one of the reasons why people know about Odious Debt. Of course, credit to Omtata too.
Yes.
And then another thing that is also working for Jimmy is that he actually has he's now the leader of a political party that actually has, it's a small party, but it actually has some structures. We are coming to learn that it is very important to have a political party. So I don't know whether anyone has a comment, but I know
I have a comment, but I was waiting to see if
Njeri also wanted to give how
I think she wanted
after we give
after we give us.
Since umesema wewe utaongea kama diaspora, umeongea kama Ali.
Yes, nimeongea kama Ali.
So which Ali? Ali the Gaidi or Ali? Okay, anyway. So si mimi ndio nilikuita gaidi, sijui uniangalie na hizo macho za nini. But so looking on from my perspective, and I'll do I'll separate myself like Ali has been separating himself. I would venture to say I don't want unprovens, and I'll specify the unprovens. To me, Boni is an activist. To me, I'm okay with him continuing to make noise, and let him continue making noise. I'm not willing for him to run the country. Siko ubaya. Somebody else might tell me something else. And then when I break it down to all the other guys, I say, okay, someone like Matiang'i, for me, Matiang'i, if I was a forgiving person, then I would say I would sit right behind the Matiang'i WhatsApp group, but I'm not forgiving enough in terms of the things that he was in charge of when we were losing lives. And to this day, there's been no explanation, no explanation, no compensation, no anything. So I just for that alone, Matiang'i is not on my list. then when I look at, say, probably, and I'm talking about the people who may have come out or are looking like they want to do something.
You know the question was about Jimmy Wanjigi.
Yeah.
You know the question was about
Jimmy Wanjigi.
No, she said we explained, right? So for Jimmy Wanjigi, for me, it's a no.
Okay.
And
Jimmy Wanjigi.
And for me,
Focus,
the Jimmy
yes.
Wanjigi,
Yeah.
the reason why I'm gonna say it's a no is because he is. If I was looking at it wearing my financial hat, I would say yes. But if I'm looking at the big picture of a whole holistic, complete picture, I don't see him being the right guy.
Why?
And because for me, he's just from the financials. I don't see him having the ability to manage and run the country. That's me.
Okay, fair enough.
With the way I'm looking at it.
Yes, fair enough.
So if I am to pick another candidate, believe it or not, it would be that my friend from Uko in the dry land,
Sekuru.
Kalonzo.
Yeah.
Now, Kalonzo is sour.
Again, I say as crazy as it sounds. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if the opposition does not unite.
Yeah.
They're not winning.
Yes.
Period.
Yeah.
Let me say this. So far,
Yes.
with Jimmy Wanjigi,
Yes.
nobody from even the government, especially from the government side, has come out to contradict, dispute,
Yes.
or challenge
Yes.
anything that he has said about Odious Debt. Anything that he has talked about the process for borrowing, budget, whatever it is,
Yeah.
Government has
There's
not
been no challenge, yeah.
has not been any challenge
Correct. That is correct.
at all.
That is correct. And he's been talking for a while. 3 years, 4 years.
He has been talking about it,
He's been
and he has
drumming
educated. He has educated all of us. Me, I'm one of those guys who has benefited from understanding what, when you borrow for development, or you borrow for this development or something, like, and the money has to come into consolidated
fund. Yeah. That's something, like even most of
Nobody-
us who follow news,
Correct.
we did not know.
Simple.
Yeah.
And he goes on to educate us on how Mozambique.
Yes. How Mozambique successfully challenged Odious Debt.
Yes.
And they were told, this deni yako, you don't have to pay it.
Yes.
Yeah. And you see, it's a very big amount.
Yes.
Actually,
It is a lot.
of the total 12 trillion we have, and I'm gonna let Njeri get to detail with that.
Yeah.
But of the 12 trillion that we owe, more than half of it
is from Odious Debt.
Yeah.
So now, when I look at Jimmy Wanjigi, would I give him a chance? Oh, absolutely. Being that I can vote,
Yes.
and he runs for president, I will look, because I already know like him, and he has categorically said that the first thing that he's going to do is going to
Challenge and go after
challenge
those things.
and say, you know what?
Yeah. Because that's gonna solve a lot of problems
A
that
lot.
we currently have.
Because like Ali
That's
said,
right there. Yes.
Ali said, 75 shillings out of 100 shillings in kulipa
Correct.
nini.
Yeah.
And by the way, we are paying for
and,
that,
And it could even be past that because that's the figure that is being told to us.
and we are paying that.
It
Yet
could
guys
be-
are
It
wearing
could be more than that.
Louis Vuitton. People are wearing red moccasins.
Red button.
And the red button moccasins or whatever, and when they're going to a dinner show and showing watches and stuff,
Yeah. And
and
you know-
taxes, and there's no money for capitation because pesa imekuliwa. So if Jimmy Wanjigi proffers something better,
and then another thing before we bring in Njeri,
bro,
is that a lot of people, especially diasporans, are excited in buying bonds. I will warn people again. Bonds are very popular. Like 15%.
Ali.
Ngoja.
Hivi uliongea juu ya ile baiskeli na sasa watu wanalia.
Yes.
Please, Ali.
I talked about I always warn people.
LSSC.
Yeah,
Ilikuwa
the
baiskeli
LSSC scam.
haikuwa, it was virtual.
Yes.
Ali's a hater.
So here's another early warning that's coming. I know people are excited with those interest rates that they're getting 15%, I don't know what percent. Learn what happened to Ghana. And this we also learned from who? From Jimmy Wanjigi. In Ghana, it was that same situation. When the reason why the rate for bonds goes up is when the government no longer has money and they have to increase those rates to attract more money so that they can spend it. But what happens, it becomes a Ponzi scheme. When they no longer can pay, like it happened in Ghana, you're told, you know what?
Your whatever will be, you'll receive in 20 years.
You're going to get a haircut. Forget about even in 20 years.
Yes, a haircut.
You're going to get a haircut. You're supposed to receive 100,000, but we're giving you only 30,000. So either take it or you leave it or you lose it all. So that is what people need to be careful about. And that's why I'm saying the debt that we have, that is what is going to make Kenya fall apart like Amalinze the cat in Things Fall Apart. Rose Njeri, talk to us about Jimmy Wanjigi and what you think about this odious debt.
Does Njeri know about Amalinze the cat in Things Fall Apart?
No,
I'm sure
she doesn't.
No,
Yeah.
hiyo
She doesn't know. Yeah.
alisikiaga kule kuna msee anaitwa Chinua, but she didn't know there was a chebe behind it, so she's still looking for it.
So
Yeah.
she's still looking for it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Mami, go ahead, ma'am.
Njeri, you had an opinion on Jimmy Wanjigi. Tell us what that is.
My mother, aka my daughter, please go ahead.
Haya. Turn up here.
My daughter is called Njeri.
Oh, yes, you're
Umesahau.
right. I forgot.
Let's give Njeri a chance
Yes,
to
go
talk.
ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead, daughter. You're muted.
Yeah, intimidated.
We can't hear you, Njeri.
I
We
think
can't
you're
hear
muted.
you. I think you're muted. Yeah. Or are we the ones who've muted her? Or
Oh, sorry.
oh yeah,
Okay,
sorry. Yeah, we are the ones who had muted.
No, you're
you.
good. You're good.
Okay, you
Okay,
can
so
start.
Njeri, talk
You're
to
making
us.
movements. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, talk to us, Njeri.
Okay, so I am familiar with Chinua Achebe and Things Fall Apart.
Hey, sorry.
I love reading a lot. Yes. I am hesitant to give to say too much about
Okay.
Jimmy Wanjigi, but I know that before his odious debt, his attention to the odious debt, he had some allegations about corruption that for me, as an idealist, and I know, that's a problem because there's never going to be someone who's perfect. Even I myself am not perfect, but as an idealist, if we were to get a new Kenya, I wouldn't want someone who's already been involved in corruption scandals. And when you say there's no possible candidates or no perfect candidates, for sure there are. There's no person who will please every category of Kenyans.
Correct.
But I have a very strong belief in Okia Omtata.
Okay.
Because I've never heard of any corruption scandals. He's never been bribed. He still does his thing. Even as a senator, he still follows, he has principle. He's following the money. He's ensuring the public knows. Even now, Busia County, I don't know what the governor did with the money. I haven't followed the story properly, but he follows through. He reports to the control of budget. He gets the people who are stealing from the county to actually show up to the EACC, and I do not know of a single scandal by him. The thing that I find most Kenyan liberals sort of disagreeing with when it comes to Omtata is that he's very Christian. So there's in Kenya, that would mean that there's certain groups that would feel he won't support them. And there are certain groups such as the LGBT will be we don't want, a Christian guy who's going to further. But I don't know his position on that. I'm just saying that it's something that I've seen, that he's, to me, the ideal president, to me. But there's always going to be people who are like, but if he's president, he'll do this, he'll do that to our community. And to me, it's like, none of the other leaders is going to support you anyway. Like in our country, we have such urgent needs that I don't think, that platform that you're looking for is going to be fulfilled anytime soon by any leader right now. So anyway, in conclusion, what I'm trying to say is, I think, to me, Okiya Omtatah is the leader I would give my vote to, but I am scared that I am being too idealist and that people do not see him in that way. So we still maybe have a long way to go.
Now, do you think a candidate like Okiya Omtatah, Gen Zs could possibly like circle around him and support him? Or is there one candidate that you see that Gen Zs could circle and support? And there's background noise, I think, coming from your side. Yeah, if you have a gadget that has some volume, please reduce the volume, because I think we can hear an echo. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, could you please give me 2 minutes, and I'll get back to you.
Okay, all right, that's okay. Yeah. So as we give Njeri some 2 minutes.
Yeah.
I would love a President Okiya Omtatah. The one thing with my experience in like following Kenyan and covering Kenyan politics is that you need to start at least 2 years before. So my question for Okiya, despite declaring that he wanted to form an exploratory committee to see if he could run for president, what exactly is he doing campaigning? Because you see, all other people who want to be president, they're in full campaign gear.
They've already removed Mishale.
Yes, they're out there.
Yes.
They're looking for votes. They're looking for
money's everything.
They're looking for money.
Kila
So I would like to hear from Okiya. How are you planning to win this? Jimmy Wanjigi, like he's already been coronated as the head of Safina Party, so he's also planning. So my thing is, if you want to win, at least show us that you're on the training ground preparing for an upcoming tournament.
What party is Nanian? Okiya.
Okiya is an independent.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe he plans to run for president as an independent, but to his credit, he won the Busia senatorial seat against a strong UDA candidate and against a strong ODM candidate, whom we've interviewed on the OneMic Show.
Yeah, here's what I will tell Okiya. And unfortunately, vile si waga tunaona Kenya ikienda, he's going to have to rally around a party. I don't know what party it's going to be, but he's going to need a party. As an independent for Kenya, for president, that's extremely tough. And you're trying to unseat incumbent, extremely tough, with or without the Gen Z vote. It'll be pretty tough, because at a certain point, si party ndio waganapeana pesa.
No, parties are funded by taxpayers.
And that is why I'm saying what I'm saying, because it gets to a point where it's not even about you, the person. It's about the money that unaeka huko ndani kufanya nini? Kufanya hii campaign.
Yeah.
And it's a trickle down from the top level, which is president, and going all the way down to the other types of office seats, right? It gets to a certain point where zile hela ziko. I mean, some of us have had Railas who kuna inafikaga, everybody knows that they're doing elections on Friday. Then what are those guys called? Men in Black appear.
Yeah.
And the vitu zinatupwa. Then
enforcement wing.
Munaambiwa, okay, guess what? Since we couldn't vote on Friday, we have to do it on Monday. You don't even have pesa ya petroli ya kufuel gari. Because we muli calculate mpaka Friday.
Yes.
Now you have to go back again to the drawing board. And the difference of not having hizo pesa za petroli for Saturday and Sunday, it means on Monday, when people are going to vote, the guys who you're expecting to vote for you on Friday will not vote for you because hawajapewa ile kitu kidogo.
Now, the thing is
That's why I was saying those things about money.
Yes, I know, like that needs money. But now you see, the thing is, we also just need a candidate. Of course, these smaller candidates, we do not expect them to win.
Correct.
But they can, if they mount a good challenge, they can force a runoff. Very likely
that person who's needed by
the third force,
by either big party.
Yes. Yeah. So now you become a very powerful person. If you're able, if let's say like an Okia is able to garner 5% of the vote, and then we have one camp with 47 and another one with 48%. So now Okia's 5%.
I don't think they'll go above 40.
But that's I'm just saying,
that's fine.
Just for argument's sake, I'm just saying, so now his 5% is the kingmaker, and now as the kingmaker, he can now become the prefect.
You call the shots.
Yes, now he can become the prefect, whichever side he supports. He can now become the prefect inside, because he'll either be in the cabinet.
That new position.
Yes. So he's going to be an internal check.
Official opposition, yes.
So, but Okia needs to come out clear. We love what you're doing, Okia. We appreciate what you're doing. What you're doing is uncovering so much that Kenyans did not know and saving, the coffers a lot of money. But please show us the way. Show us the way. You cannot just be saying you're running for president and then you're not giving a path of how you're going to win votes, because votes are not won by just saying, I'm going to run for president. So that right there, Okia is would be an ideal president. Although a president, there are so many other things that you're also going to be dealing with. But I think, two important things we need, someone who can handle the debt that we have, and Okia has already shown, that will be his priority. We also need, like Njeri said, corruption free. That is a very strong statement in Kenya. But we need someone who at least has not been involved in these mega corruption scandals. Because these people don't change. These people don't change. They will go in government and they'll find a way. But anyway, we have Njeri back here. Let me hear from Njeri. Maybe there's something that Njeri knows that we don't, that he can tell us to be able to nudge us. Njeri.
She has an app. She's going to write an app.
So regarding the ideal candidates, that thing for saying that we need to be bribed so that we remember who we are voting for also needs to change. Even us as voters, we need to hold ourselves to the same standards that we are holding the leaders that we expect to lead us to be in. So, Maraga was complaining that whenever he goes for his campaign, people ask him for money.
Yes.
And it's like, I don't have the budget to go giving out freebies. But what I'm trying to do is change how things are so that you can actually earn your money. Because if systems work, then you're able to get money. And, you don't have to rely on the election cycle for you to get a salary.
A payday.
Or like money. Yeah. Okay. And then another thing is actually, Okia Omtata does have a party. I do not remember its name. And then as a sitting senator, he can't campaign. He can't get into full campaign mode until, I don't know, a certain period before the elections. So I'm hoping that he's working in the background to actually give us something to vote for at the end of the day. But I don't think he can do much as a sitting senator right now.
There's a lot of sitting senators who are campaigning. Njeri, there's a lot of sitting senators who are out on the campaign trail. So many.
But I told you, Okiya Omtata follows the law, so he's not gonna do those things illegally, which is what makes him, to me, an ideal candidate. Okay. However, of course, I am biased. If someone else were to come who believes in Matiang'i were to come here, they'd also probably say good things about him. So I am biased, so that's a disclaimer. But I think, Okiya Omtata would be the leader that this movement needs.
Okay. Yeah. All right. That is fair enough. However, that time is running out so fast. There's not been a leader that the Gen Z has been able to unite around out of the career politicians. And I understand the Gen Zs do not want any of these career politicians. But then the reality is they're the ones who've started creating formations, and they're the ones who, as we speak right now, have an advantage. We actually have upcoming by-elections in November 27th, and I think those are gonna reveal a lot. So out of the career politicians, do you think there's one who's maybe not as corrupt or not as evil, that if push comes to shove, we'd rather have this guy than have the guy who's in office right now? Is there maybe one or two people that you see that maybe they might be considered? And I know that's a long shot.
I don't know that I want to mention them.
Okay. But they're there.
But they are there.
Okay.
There are.
Yeah.
I don't want to be told I've been paid or whatever.
No, I totally get it. I totally get it. But for me, I'll mention them. They can tell me I've been paid.
Go ahead.
Yes. I honestly think amongst the career politicians, the lowest hanging fruit, if the united opposition is truly united and they want to be united, I think is Kalonzo. He's not been mentioned in any mega corruption scandals, despite being there from when Moi
get it down.
Yeah, he was in Moi's cabinet in the 90s. I think out of that group, they either pick him or they perish. Because if they pick anyone else, because Kalonzo is gonna run, he supported Baba twice. And he supported him even a third time, not as his running mate. So Kalonzo, regardless of whether he's being picked as the united opposition candidate or not, he's gonna run. And then another surprise that might come into play, and this is now my theory. Mm-hmm. This is not fact or anything. Yes. Okay. And some of those theories, you've seen some of those theories have marinated already.
Kuna zingine ulisema na Baba died. So
yeah.
I don't know.
So Baba died. Baba died. But my theory was the reason why Ruto chose to work with Baba is because he had intention of taking over his base because he saw a gap in ODM, and that's marinating. Yes, Baba has died, but it's marinating very nicely because you're seeing some people from Nyanza who are so anti-Ruto, and now all of a sudden they're like broad-based.
Buddha boss.
Broad-based. Now, another thing that we also have to be mindful of in this united opposition, is this wild card called Gachagua. And Gachagua is someone who has no principles, no morals. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes back and joins Kasongo. And that is my theory. And let's wait to see.
So are
if
you
it shall
basing this
marinate or not.
off of the handshake he had on Friday?
So no, it's not based on the handshake.
Okay.
He's just someone who has no principles.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Yeah, he
really
has no
doesn't.
principles.
He doesn't.
Yeah.
Mimi niko na wewe na Kalonzo. And there's a gentleman that I'm watching.
Mhm.
I'm going to say two, but one that I'm watching carefully. Nione mali
You see Pali Mawingu.
Mali Mawingu
okay. Okay.
And we've had the fortune of interviewing him here.
No, I know who you're talking about. And Njeri's not going to be happy to hear that
interesting.
name.
Yes.
That's an interesting thought.
I know the name you're talking about. Njeri's not going to be.
No, I'm going to mention his name. But so I'm watching Kalonzo.
Yeah.
And I'm in agreement because Karojo, that guy has not hajabanduka from his position ever since before Gen Z.
Correct.
He has not moved.
He's held fast.
He has held. The other guy that I'm watching, and I told there's somebody that I told the other day, I'm like, me, the other person that I would have been watching Babu. But for me, Babu, one incident.
Yes.
But the other person is none other than Secretary General ODM.
Oh, Sifuna.
Period.
Okay, Sifuna.
I'm watching that guy.
Yes.
Is that who you were thinking about?
No, that's not what I was thinking about.
What are you thinking about?
I was thinking about that. Yeah.
But Njeri has something to say before I tell you why I was not thinking about him.
Okay. Njeri, go ahead.
I think if Sifuna and Orengo and the contentious Babu, but I do not support him because of the incident.
Mm-hmm.
But if Sifuna and Orengo were like to get together, they would form a more formidable opposition. I would support that.
You know what my worry about? My worry about Sifuna and Orengo is I love them too. But do you know what my worry is? You know, when you look at the architecture of what wins votes, think about the game of soccer and the game of rugby. In rugby, you know, like you could be fast, you could have all those skills, but you have to know how to tackle. In order to win a game. So, and that tackling is in politics are translated to mobilization power. Orengo and Sifuna do not have that mobilization power. They are very good, you know, at these secretary general positions, articulating positions, but when it comes to mobilization power, like if Sifuna went to
I will disagree.
No, if Sifuna went to Wajir, are people gonna listen to him?
Yes.
Probably not.
Yes.
Probably not. And that's why I'm telling you that's how elections are lost. You know, like, because we go for people we like rather than people who know how to mobilize.
Now,
and the problem, and that's part of the problem with our politics, because some of these mobilizers, they're good mobilizers, but they're not necessarily the best qualified leaders.
Now, I talked to somebody on the ground.
But the mobilization is what wins votes.
I was talking to somebody on the ground.
Yeah.
In the entertainment industry. A DJ. Mse anajua, he told me, ako Kenya, si ata ako hapa. He told me, OneMic, skiza. There's one thing that you have to understand. Sifuna is always on media. Be it social media, be it TV, anakuanga TikTok, Twitter, whatever, and whatever he talks about or whatever he said, not even that. The fact that whatever he's always visible.
Yes.
Is always visible.
Yeah.
And case in point, alipoenda Bondo, when Baba was being arrested, when his name was called, uko kushangilia, alishangiliwa. Again, all I'm saying is when you have that visible presence, not necessarily that you are on the ground, but as even, and I'm looking at it from this, from an as an outsider, not as an ODMer.
So,
but when ODM, as big as it is, with people and members from all over the country, that people know this guy. And then on top of that, Sifuna is always on media. That is, to me, that looks like what we have over here with the Orange Man. Not necessarily having to pay for ads on TV, but everyone is talking about him.
Do you want me to shock you?
Shock me.
Babu is not always on media, but Babu has better mobilization power on the ground than Sifuna. Being on media is just that, and being on media excites people like you and I. Mtu mwenye anasukuma mkokoteni huko nje. You think when you talk about like Senate procedures or this was against the law, do you think those things move people on the ground? And I think that's the basic level that people need to think about, because we usually
mobilization ya Babu na kwanga wapi?
We usually love
Embakasi.
We usually, it is anywhere. Babu at this point can go to Mariakani. Wachana na Embakasi. Babu at this point can go to Mariakani and he'll stop a group of people and he'll listen to them. Sifuna so Babu has this combination of he's both intelligent and he also knows how to like speak towards immediately in people's minds. Do you know why politicians like do you know why, for example, Ruto won? It's your
people didn't vote.
It's
people did not vote.
No, like Mike, we have to look at what actually wins votes. Baba was popular because he was a good mobilizer on the ground. And those are the things that Orengo, you see, the thing is, Njeri, you and I, like people who, we're educated, will get excited when we hear Orengo. But Orengo akienda pale sokoni, like he's gonna struggle to get a crowd riled up. That is what wins votes, whether you guys like it or not.
No, I'm in agreement.
But that's what wins
votes.
So
with what do you call it? Orengo, yeah.
So now I think these good guys that we have, they need to learn that. Because part of the reason why these good guys have not been winning is because they haven't learned that. They think that they can, write, make great speeches, go speak on media eloquently.
Boss, that means shit in Kenya.
That is not gonna win you votes. And I think
in Kenya it will not.
I think it's important for Njeri and other Gen Zs to understand that, so such that whoever they're going to mobilize around will be someone who has that ability. One guy who had that ability, but he flamed out very fast because he started, kukosana na watu wengi, was Morara. Morara has that ability. That is what wins. I'm coming from a perspective
and
of being.
Tell us about Morara.
I'm coming from a perspective of being humbled at looking at those intelligent guys who can go on media and speak big English and quote laws. Those things do not win votes. Let me hear maybe what Njeri has to say, because Njeri is also out there on the ground. Because we're talking of
Sifuna is that
people.
exception. But
we're talking about average. We're talking about average people. We're not talking about when you're talking about the border guy, mkokoteni guy. That is where votes are won. Not from us. Njeri, talk to us.
Usiogope.
I don't really want to talk about people. I'll be honest. I don't want to mention names, but I'll say something about something you said that Ruto won because blah blah blah. Ruto got if you look at the statistics of the voters from the last election, he won by around at most 200K.
233,000 votes.
Yes.
We know the number.
Okay. Okay. Out of all the registered and viable votes, a third, if you look at, the millions, I don't have the exact numbers, but a third voted for Raila, a third voted for Ruto. Then there was this third, of which I was a part of, who did not vote. So when you say Ruto won, if you would have been able to mobilize these apathetic people who were like not interested, because for me it was like, we don't really have a choice. If you choose this or this, it's gonna be the same. That's why I didn't feel like I could vote. But if that third could have been convinced to be active in the elections, like if we knew then what we know now, we would have voted. You know what I mean? So when you say he won, I do not think. I mean, yes, he won, but it was such a small margin. So when people say he's such a political genius, it's like, no, he was just lucky.
Okay, fair enough. Let's assume he was lucky. So now people know what they know, and we've seen the rollout of continuous voter registration. But turnout among young people hasn't matched the online and street protest energy. We now have, like numbers that are coming out from IEBC. And I know it's just the beginning of the process. Maybe we are last minute society, and maybe they will all come register last minute. We don't know.
Last minute for sure.
But what do you think that is, and what can be done to turn this digital energy into civic participation? Because of what has happened, like the last 1.5 years, my expectation was when this continuous registration opens, everybody, all Gen Zs will be running in. But we haven't quite seen that yet, and that is a worrying sign to me. Because me, I was very sure these guys are gonna be flooding those spaces. But it's not happening.
But I think Kenyans usually wait until last minute. So, but I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I'm with you
so Njeri, talk to us.
I think Kenyans are just last minute people. I'm not worried. I think the same also happened the last time there was voter registration. You would go to a station and find like wameshinda hapo the whole day and no one came. But then towards the end, it was queues on queues on queues of people trying to get registered before the vote. So I'm not worried. I'm not worried about that.
I am worried. And I'll tell you why I'm worried. Because I did an analysis, even an analysis that also includes the last minute rush. And this analysis was based on data that came from, like previous registrations and the current registration that we have, and even factoring in that last minute rush and factoring in what's called, because what we have right now is continuous registration, and then we're going to have something that's called mass registration, which is when when it goes down to the ward level, because this one is at constituency level. So the one at ward level is where you get more people to register. So from the analysis that I've done, IBC is targeting 6.3 million voters
to register.
So from
in this continuous.
Yes, they're targeting 6.3 million
before 2027.
No, before 2027.
Okay,
that's the continuous plus the mass voter registration.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I did this data analysis based on existing data, factoring in that most people are gonna register during the mass voter registration, a lot of people are gonna go in last minute. Tukifikata 4 million of that 6.3 million, that's on the very high side. Yes, at the pace that things are going. And that's the reason why I'm worried. I will be very happy to learn that I was entirely wrong, and IEBC, they all came and registered and they beat the target that IEBC has set. Let's also remember there's also a deliberate effort to sabotage this process, especially if the powers that be feel like these new people who are registering will not vote for them.
True.
So there will be an active element of trying to sabotage. And how do you try to legally sabotage? By not funding, enough of the mass registration.
Right.
Because you see, with continuous registration, it's at the constituency level. So someone actually needs money to go, because think about Langata constituency. I don't know where the constituency office is, but you need fare kufika kwa constituency office, because let's say you live in South Sea and the office is in Langata. You need fare to go there and you need fare to go back. And then there's constituencies like Kibwezi, which is a bigger constituency, where apparently it could cost you up to 500 shillings to travel from one part of the constituency to go and register and then travel back. And this will take quite a good chunk of your day. So we must be aware of this. And that's where I think, like Njeri should now start focusing on letting people know that these numbers already look worrying. Njeri has something to say. Ngoja kwanza Njeri, and then you're going to bring in your point.
Yes.
Njeri.
You don't have to go to your locality to register as a voter. You can register from the nearest IEBC center.
Yes.
So I think one thing they're doing is not communicating very well or very clearly about that. Secondly, the thing that I've seen being done is a lot of people are creating, but let me speak specifically. There's a guy on Twitter who's created a tool where you can map out like a Google Maps for polling stations, where based on data that is provided on the IEBC website. So he's made a map. You just log in and say, I am at this place. I am in South Sea. And then you'll be told your closest IEBC station on the app.
Do you know that tool? The name of the tool?
Yes, I will say the guy is Civic Education Kenya on Twitter.
Education Kenya.
Civic Education. So you'll find it there. It's there. He talks about it a lot. The problem that is coming across from the people who've gone to register is that when they go to a place, maybe the website says there's a station at this and this building, you will go look for it and not find it. Or maybe it's hidden, or maybe it's opposite that building. It's not accurate in that manner. So I was also thinking of doing something like that, but then I'm seeing people have done it. So, with tech, I think the person who executes first gets the people behind him. So what I was thinking was to have it to be open source, so that people who've actually gone to this station that is now on the map are able to say, oh, so when you get there, go across the street. That's where the actual polling center is.
Okay.
Yeah, but as at now, as it is, and this is supposed to be work that IEBC does, but as I said, these things come from a point of need. So as at now, there's a guy who's created a tool that is like a Google Maps for polling stations, and it's helping a lot of people, even though the information provided on the website sometimes
is not accurate.
Yeah.
Now, Njeri, I think also it's important to understand the counties like Nairobi, counties like Kiambu are structured very different. Nikikuleta kwetu in let me say, Kilifi constituency, like if you're going to, let's say, Malindi, Amon and Magari, let's say, I meant Kilifi County, and you're going to places like Magarini. Getting to that constituency office, even within the constituency you're in, because there's an issue of distance, it's gonna cost you. Like kwenda na kurudi, and these are areas where people have very low incomes. And that's why I think that mass registration is important, where it's brought closer to the ward. It's a good thing that now you can register, like anywhere. And that's information that, like I said, IBC needs to make it louder for people to hear. But that still doesn't solve for people who live in Kibwezi. It solves a problem for people who live in Nairobi, people who live in Kiambu County. But it doesn't solve, like in places like Marsabit, where, a constituency is so huge that sometimes even the member of parliament has to use like a chopper to go around his own constituency. So those are the things that I think we need to be very mindful of. Now, as we come to a close, because I don't want us to leave this one aspect that I wanted to talk to you about, you designed the email tool that you designed to help Kenyans contact MPs about the finance bill. You also have one that highlights Kenya's odious debt in a simplified form. It explains how citizens are paying for loans that were embezzled and were never used for the intended purpose. So maybe first of all, explain to Kenyans what odious debt is, because not a lot of people understand what that is, and why you chose to build a tool to help citizens focus specifically on this aspect of odious debt. Njeri.
Okay. So odious debt basically means debt that was taken. Okay, on my website, I explain it like this. Imagine you're living in a house, mother, father, children. Then the father takes out a debt, takes out a loan at the bank, and uses the money on himself, on outside, never does anything to for education, for the house basically, and uses the money on their own. Then when the bank comes to claim the debt, they come to you, the wife, or to the children, and say, now you're the ones who are supposed to pay for this. Is that really fair? So
I think you should have said the mother takes a loan, not the father. But carry on.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
At least she's laughing.
Odious debt is basically debt that has been taken by these leaders in an illegal manner. Then the debt is the loan that is taken is put in offshore accounts, and third, you cannot trace it to actual development projects. So the money was taken for the benefit of Kenyans, but it ends up benefiting someone's pocket. But then now when the debtor comes to ask for payment, like it's us who did not benefit from it who are being told to pay for it. So my website on odious debt is based on a filing by Okia Omtata that is in the commercial court, high court. So, full disclaimer, I did not work on the project. All I did was, like most Kenyans, I had been hearing odious debt, and I'm like, what is this? And I started, after my arrest, I started being interested in our budgeting process in a more intimate manner, because now it's personal. You've put me in the cell for this, so like I have to know what is going on with this. Like why did I go to prison for this? So when you're looking at the budget of Kenya, there's two sides to it. There's the planning side, and then there's the expenditure side. And when the finance bill comes around, and by the way, I learned something from being involved in all this, is that the finance bill process begins immediately after the other finance bill is passed, because it's passed every year.
Yes.
You have to budget every year.
Appropriations.
So after the financial year begins, they already start the process of now next year's bill. They go to the counties, they do focus groups, they ask, what do you need? Like, roads, hospitals, schools, and then they now formulate things from that county level, from that ward and constituency level, gets to the county level. It's a whole process before it finally gets to the point where they're like, okay, so here's the finance bill in May. Here is what we are presenting. Then, there's a period of now public feedback again. But remember, when they started, they were still involving the public. Whether or not they actually end up doing it is a whole other thing, because there's also something called a supplementary budget, which, let's say we are agitating against this finance bill, the government will be like, okay, we'll use this supplementary budget, but it's not now what has been worked on for the whole year to that point. You understand? So anyway, my point was that there is that budgeting part of it, which is a long procedure with 4 distinct stages, but I don't remember them. I don't have my notes here. They're back in Nairobi. But yeah. And then there's the expenditure side now. Okay, so now they've budgeted it. They know where they are planning to get money from. So there's the one that they'll expect to get from taxes. Then there's the money they'll expect to get from internal borrowing. And there's money they'll expect to get from external borrowing. But do they actually stick to the budget? That is the first problem. Secondly, this money that they borrow, are there budget items or budget line items that are actually not involved, not mentioned at any step, but end up being used? And that's basically budgeted corruption. They won't just write there that we've budgeted that, out of this money for this year, we are going to spend this on corrupt practices. No, but it is it's such a part of the system that, if you're tendering for something, you expect a certain percentage to come to me. If you're a company from outside the country trying to set up something within the country, it is expected that you will bribe someone, So that's budgeted corruption without it being, an item line. And that wastes our money. And then eventually what ends up happening is, like right now, the budget that they budgeted for, I'm so sorry, I don't have my notes, but it was something like, let's say 4 trillion is in the budget.
Yes.
However, there's debts we have to pay.
Yes.
So being like 70-80%. Then there's the recurring expenditures. That is money for salaries. The State House budget we hear at this time they're eating 1 million a week. I don't know. I don't remember the exact figures, but there's money that goes to that is part of the budget actually. Then whatever is left, like our debt is so high that whatever is left after they do the debts and the recurrent expenditure is so little that it can only take care of one aspect of our budget. And our budget, remember, we are planning for roads, hospitals, schools. But then whatever is left is like such a small, like maybe 4 billion out of these whole trillions that now supposed to go for these these many essential services. So what happens? They'll end up saying, okay, we'll just put this money in schools and ignore the rest. And then what happens? You go to hospital when you're sick. You can't get. You have to buy the. Actually, this is personal experience. My baby got sick, like really bad. It was July. He had a really bad cold, and we go to hospital. I go to the first one is a private hospital, and they're like, no, we have to admit. It's gonna be you pay a deposit of like 30K, and it's like, dude, wow. I do not have that money, right? And your child is sick, like literally breathing like a tractor, mahoma zimemjaza. So, I mean, I see I cannot afford this, so I go to Mama Lucy. When I go, so the admission area is 200 shillings. If you have SHA, take care of it. Then they look at the child and then they tell you, so we need what do you call this? Mask thing. Oxygen.
Yeah,
that's for the child.
Yes.
Yeah, but we need like the child's version, not the big one.
A ventilator.
No, the mask that covers over your mouth and nini.
Ventilator, yeah, it's ventilator. I think she's saying, yeah. Ile COVID.
So we need that. Na hatuna. So you have to go look for it.
Nice.
Mtoto ni mgonjwa. Mtoto ako kwa mgongo. Unaenda ukitafuta, chemist by chemist. Mpaka inafika point unaambia, well, enda tu kwa supplier yako Nairobi CBD. Unapanda matatu unaenda, unanunua hiyo kitu unarudi anakuambia, haya sasa hatuna hii dawa na hii dawa. So unatoka tena unanunua. As in,
and the whole time umebeba na mtoto.
Sasa utaacha mtoto na nani na uko peke yako, and these are real things that real actual Kenyans are going through, where because the healthcare is not working, the roads are pathetic. Nairobi right now looks like a slum. I'm talking Nairobi CBD. Correct. As in, it's dirty, it's messy, it's chaotic. You can't even just walk. Like unatembea unapata hoka ameka manyanya hapo, ukikanyanga atakwambia wewe so nilipe nyanya yangu. Unataka kukaa inside ndo hii boda inakuja, ndo huyu mtu wa mkokoteni, ndo hii matatu. It's so chaotic and there's no budget to like plan for all that. You understand? So as I said at the beginning of all this, my first impression when I was looking at how things are working here, I felt so sad for my country, because will we really ever get to that point where things just work, where there's organization, where there's systems that are,
by the way,
flowing.
It used to work. We've seen it working. So it's not that it can't be done.
There was an age.
It used to work.
Those of us over 40, we remember a time when garbage used to be collected
by Camero.
Every home in Nairobi had the bins, the silver ones.
The silver metal bills.
Yes.
Written city council.
There were dispensaries where you could go, and get treated either for free or at a very low cost. There were public schools. Cabinet ministers used to take their kids to public schools.
I went with a lot of them to school.
Yes.
And we paid 173 shillings for CG activity.
So these things have fallen apart so fast within a very short period of time, and something needs to be cured. I know Esther Mulusa hapa amesema I'm dumbing down Kenyan politics. For once I disagree. Esther, I've been in your school of thought, but one thing, there's that idealism that we all have. We all want to see Omtata become president. But does he have a formation that will win the presidency? Even Njeri will tell you, no, he doesn't. So I like looking at things.
Grounded different.
I like looking at things at that practical aspect. And I think all these good people who have good intent for the country, Maraga, I credit them, like for actually throwing themselves in the field, especially Maraga. Maraga has given some direction, like he's thrown himself out there. So I appreciate that. And to me, actually, I think right now, based on scores of who's actually thrown himself in the ring and is creating structures, even if polls are not looking good, I would say Maraga is another person that maybe the Gen Zs should also consider because he's creating structures, like around himself. But the primary thing is that you have to learn politics. If you do not learn politics, you will perish. It is nice to be now. You see, the thing is with the likes of Kinaruto, they've learned the other extreme side. Kinaruto over-politicized everything. So when you're all politics and then governance unashindwa, then you have a revolt. Mm-hmm. When you're all policy and you do not correctly manage politics, 2007 electoral violence. I know, Kibaki doesn't get enough blame, but that was mismanagement of politics that led to that.
Yes.
Overmanaging of politics leads to what happened with the Gen Z revolt. Overmanagement of politics, what's happening in Tanzania right now? Kumewaka. Kimenuka. Kimeumana. It is smelling there.
It is smelling.
When you try to overmanage the politics, then this is what happens. So we have to find that right balance. In as much as we like the Orengos, you see Orengo and Nyong'o, very smart people. But for them to win politically in Nyanza, they had to have Baba's blessing. I know Esther Mulusa will not disagree with me. They had to have Baba's blessing. And the moment that Orengo tried to go against Baba, guess what happened? He lost. He lost his Ugenya parliamentary seat. So, and this is where, because at the end of, unfortunately, this is not a corporation whereby people are being interviewed. Yes, Maraga, you are the best. Come here, take the job.
Vituko ground.
It's unfortunately politics.
Yes.
And that's the
unfortunately.
reason. Unfortunately, it is.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why when I mention names like Joho, people start, looking at me with a side eye, but he's a mobilizer.
Yes.
And that is what is winning votes. So all these other good people, Maraga, Umtata, and Boni, you have to learn that game of mobilization. And the other thing, musianze kusomea voters. One mistake that Boni, I love you so much, but one mistake he makes is ni kusomea voters. Ukianza kusomea voters, it doesn't matter how great you are, they're not listening to you. Yeah, they're not going to vote for you. So
those
are the things that I think if we want to have a good formation, especially if Gen Z is looking for that proper third force.
Coalescing third force, yeah.
Yes. Like I said, one person who had that skill was Morara Kebaso. But Morara Kebaso also
flamed out.
He flamed out.
I think
the government
exhaustion.
No, the government started hitting him where it hurts.
Yes.
Walimtumia KRA. Because that's what this
that's
government
what they usually
does.
do, yeah.
Yeah, walimtumia KRA. And that's why you see he had to pull back.
He's out.
So you see one of the reasons why also Baba survived for a very long time. And I know people are not gonna be happy when I say this. There were 3 wings that existed in ODM. And Maliba, during a show on NTV this week, said it. So there are 3 key structures that you must have if you want to create a formation that will win an election. Number 1, you need to have the ideological wing. So the ideological wing, we had Anyang' Nyong'o, we have Orengo, we have Sifuna. Those people are very important. It's very important because that's a basic foundation that will hold it for a long time.
Yeah.
Second to the ideological wing, you have to have a financial wing. is financial wing is people who mobilize money. A presidential election, whether you like it or not, going from Todonyang to Wargadud on the same day, you need choppers. It's a very expensive affair.
Yeah.
We can't get away from that. You're not going to win from YouTube Live or Facebook or TV interviews. You have to go on the ground. Number 3, which also people don't like hearing, but that has been important information that I've won, is an enforcement wing. I know there was the famous Men in Black that ODM had, but Jubilee had one, UDA had one. All the formations that I've won, they have an enforcement wing, whereby, and here now I'm talking, now like the practicalities of politics, whereby Mike is a candidate that I'm running against, and he's holding a rally, na hii rally yake inakani nzuri sana, nataka kwenda kuivuruga. There's boys that you can call really quick. And they go, unfortunately, hopefully one day, this thing will get away from our politics.
But that's what it is right now.
That's what it is right now. That's what it is right
Tukubali
now.
matokeo.
That's what it is right now. And we might see a change. Like the Gen Z revolt wasn't something small. So I do expect to see a change. But that change will be effected if we see registered voters. Wahenga?
Oh, we're done with that?
Yeah.
Wahenga walinena kilicho na mwanzo hakina budi kwa na mwisho. Meli imetia nanga. We are about to wrap this puppy up. Fire. We start with the Rose.
No, let's start with fire and then we're gonna go to Rose.
Fire, that is a mush. Wrap it up, boss.
Okay. Thank you, Muno. To you, Madhogodhanyo. Yeah. Okay. So thanks to our guest. Thank you, Rose, for making it. I know the time difference. Umeshikwa hapo na butwa. You didn't know whether you were coming.
Jet lag inamsumbua.
Whether you woke up, siji ulipewa homework, ama karatasi. You didn't know what was happening. Lakini ni sawa. You've held your own, and thank you so much for coming through on the show. Pole for the things that you have gone through, and hopefully the cause that you're now fighting for, which you started, I guess, not knowing where it was going, but it has shaped you. Hopefully the ones who are around besides and looking up to you are seeing what can be done and what the power of one can do. And if everybody comes together and tries to figure out, like you said, a need, fulfilling a need, cause, or whatever the case may be, digitally or with in some other way, form or shape, it will actually make a difference for us as a country, as you guys as the new generation of voters, and we all need to believe in voting. So thank you for standing firm, and I'm sure one day when you can talk freely, you'll give us more deeper insights of everything. But as it is, we are very, very thankful for what you've given us here, and we've learned a lot. At least I know I've come out learning a lot with the new tools that are there, especially that are helping folks even try to vote. So we'll look those up, and hopefully we'll be able to pin that in our chat, or even at least give that information to our listeners in our next show. Have a safe trip home. Polo natoka kesho, at least angalau you would have even seen other places. She was here for what, 6.2 days? Ama
1.3 days.
I don't think she's made 6 days. She came in on Wednesday.
It's like break time.
Yeah. Ni kama break time, yeah.
Alitoka nini? She didn't even get a leave pass.
Nothing.
Afike tao, ajafika tao bado.
Yeah.
Amerudi nini? Nika hedi amemuita.
Yeah, and she actually had a connecting flight, and originally had assumed she came with a direct flight.
Kale ka New York.
Yeah, but no, she had a connecting flight. So that
so
even
kesho,
alisema Dubai.
Yeah,
so
Dubai.
Kesho akitoka anarudi Dubai, anarudi Dubs tena ku think about the time.
Atatuambia.
Yeah. Aya, Njeri.
Safe trip, and thank you very much. And don't be a stranger. Us guys, we are here same time, same place. Hata ukiwa home and you just wake up and you're not gonna make noise for the babies, call us. You never know, we might talk to you.
Okay.
Aya, karibu.
Aya, Njeri, give us your parting shot and maybe what's next in your chapter, in your next chapter.
My parting shot would be a message to the diaspora. I have noticed that maybe because you're away from home. You guys mko very tribal. Like you sort of coalesce into your clusters. And I think maybe you should try and be more unified as a unit, because the direction we're going in is one Kenya, and we need all of you, not your tribe, not your group. We need all people working together for us to go to where we are going. So yeah, and I know things work here, but I know most of you have relatives back home. So even if you're doing your things here, and I've learned here, time is money. You have to be busy. Like, you guys are busy. Like, your time is very budgeted in the same way that we budget money. So anyway, my point is that please don't forget to think about Kenya, about your home, what's going on there, because these things are real and they're affecting real people. When the bad laws are passed, help us make noise online. Throw in your tweet, throw in your hashtag, and yeah, that's another way to be involved with the movement, with what's going on. And finally, keep doing you, keep working towards a better Kenya for everyone, because huku kukinuka, so that's where you'll go. So we have to make sure it works for everyone.
Okay.
Utaenda Jamaica.
Jamaica,
Yeah, so
kuna Hurricane Melissa.
Hiyo mvua ikishapita.
Yeah.
Melissa alishapita. Amecha destruction, but ni sawa tu. Walikuwa wamechapa insurance ya
rebuild.
Yeah.
Okay. Aya, sawa Njeri, thank you so much for coming through within this short. I think this is a record time of a Kenyan ever coming to the US and living within 2 days. That rarely happens.
Pengine alinunua umbrella. Umenunua umbrella at least.
Yeah, that rarely happens. But at least you've gotten to enjoy New York, even despite the rain.
Yes,
and
the
everything.
Has been terrible.
So I think you'll go back home with a whole different experience and a different story to tell. Especially when it comes to, because we've lived here for so long, we take it for granted that things work. That you go to a hospital, that roads, they just work. There's no police, there's no traffic police trying to control traffic, but, things just work. We sometimes take it for granted because we've lived here for so long, but this is something that, especially people who are coming here for the first time, notice very quickly. If you need to get your license, you don't need to know anyone, you don't need to pay anyone. It's a straightforward process. You just go quick kazi kwisha, and you're done. So yeah, the one last thing that the one message I want you to take back to Gen Z, Njeri, because I was really excited by what the Gen Z has been doing and the direction the country is taking. But it is important, even within the activism space, to start looking at the different parts that win an election. Because at the end of the day, it's the leaders we select who are going to determine whether we're going to cure all these evils that we're trying to fight. So I think it's important to figure the building blocks of what wins an election. And of course, we are at a disadvantage because we're trying to do things the right way. So for example, if it's money that is needed, what exactly is this money being spent for? If it's printing t-shirts, can we find someone who can donate that? Someone who is within the cause, maybe has a company that prints t-shirts. Can we get that? If it's posters that cost money, can we find people who can get us those posters done, because this money is doing something. It's not money that's it's not just the money that wins, it's money doing something. So we need to figure that out, and then also learn the mobilization part. Learn why, and I know this is a very horrible thing to say, go and understand why Oscar Sudi, a semi-illiterate person, won an election in his constituency. People need to learn. People need to understand.
He knows how to read something.
No, people need to understand that he mambo ya, you know, and I know people get, especially those of us who are educated, we get irked when we are told that you have to speak in a way that regular people understand you. So yes, you can quote chapters of the Constitution, but if you cannot speak in a normal language in a way that feeds the immediate need of the person you're talking to, Article 6 means absolutely nothing to him. Yeah. So it's great you went to law school. You know what Article 6 is?
Who went to law school?
Whoever, you know, like,
an example.
I'm just giving an example.
I thought you said Sudi went to law school.
No, I'm saying, yeah. No, I'm just saying. I want this message to sink into Njeri, because idealism, I'll tell you one thing, idealism has never won any election. So if we are looking to get Kasongo out, we have to learn those basic building blocks. And we have to figure out who in our team has that charisma, who in our team has that mobilization power, who in our team has that, has that balance that will be able to go and fight it hand on hand with Kasongo and his team.
Babu.
If we do not figure that out, we will be back here in 2027, crying again. Yeah.
Or lie.
And that's the reason why I'm saying we need to get out of, and I'm saying this in a very polite way, but we need to get out of this idealism. Otherwise, Kasongo is gonna win a second term. Idealism, if people are not registering, and if people, people are not registering, and we are not looking at why. I know Esther Mulusa mentioned drug dealers. We're not looking at why drug dealers are winning elections, yet you nice guys are not winning.
Pablo Escobar won elections.
But that's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we need to figure out. You know who figured this out? Barack Hussein Obama. Barack actually, before he became, a state representative, then a senator, he lost. You know, people tend to forget that.
Yes, he lost.
And he lost mercilessly. Yeah, he lost mercilessly. Barack Obama learned the hard knock way of doing politics in Chicago. And he went back and won.
Ground, yes.
So I know, so maybe Barack Obama is an example that we can use. Go read his book. Go read his history of what he did to actually win his first election. Barack Obama, by the way, he used alitumia makumbo to win his first election. So go read what he did to win the first election that he did, eventually becoming, state representative, senator, and eventually president of the US. If we do not learn that, Esther Mulusa, 2027,
utajua ujui.
Yeah, tutakuwa tumesema, yes, we went through all this experience, and it will be so sad if we get a second term of William Samoei Ruto. Poleni sana to my brothers in Tanzania, Kimenuka. I know they've lost a couple of lives. We don't know exactly how many. Yeah, we don't know exactly how many.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they've not reported, but I know there's a number of people who've lost lives. I'm not even going to say this is their Gen Z moment. I'd say this is their PEV moment.
Yeah.
Remember how Kenya had a PEV moment in 2007 that led to a new constitution, that led to a transitional government. So I think this is a PEV moment. If I go by my theories again, I don't see Samia Suluhu lasting this time. I just don't see that happening.
Have they are supposed to declare tomorrow, right?
I don't know when they're going to declare.
I think they had said they're supposed to read it tomorrow.
But that declaration point, that's going to be another inflection point where things are going to get worse.
Kaende.
Yes. Na kwa hayo machache, yote ambaye anataka kunipigia simu, nambari yangu bado ni ile 1-800 mteule, na operator akishika simu, mwambie unataka kusema na mjukuu, na akikuuliza ni mjukuu yupi, mkumbushe ni mjukuu yule wa Masai, because I'm Kenyan by blood, American by design, Masai by choice. Sichagui, sikagui, na sibagui. Kwaherini.
Aiden, Daddy loves you. Njeri, Daddy loves you. Nimo, Daddy loves you. Until next week, be blessed. Me, I thought DJ was going to be playing a game.
Boss Bana, we've been over here for a lot. Even me, I'm on jet lag.
Okay, sawa. Njeri, asante sana. Baraka tele. Get some rest. Safe flight.
Yes, pumzika.
Flight.
Yeah. What time is your flight?
Very early. 11, so I have to leave the house at 8.
Okay,
sawa.
Okay, sawa. So thank you so much, Nendo kapumzike. Thank you so much for your time.
Good night.
Good night.
Sawa.
The girls love me, that's so show man I know. Everywhere I go they wanna sing my song. Man a bad man and he go fit dicky do. The girls love me, that's so show man I know. Everywhere I go they wanna sing my song.